Chapter 1590. Damn. Why is she still chasing after me? Didn't she say that she would only kill me if she did it again? Night Sorrow was surprised to see the masked woman appear. ZW forever. Free. Look. Seijich. She's a lunatic, but it's fine. She won't get angry at us or do anything to you. Wait here, I'll go take a look, Elder Nalan said. Elder Nalan and Lung Lai left the private room to receive the masked woman. Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. He wanted to wait for the woman to leave before going out. In the lobby of the Godfiend Castle, the masked woman snorted when she saw Elder Nalan and Elder Lung Lai appear. I thought your ethereal city branch was so arrogant that you wouldn't want to receive me. Hee hee. Elder Chiu, what are you talking about? We were busy just now. When we saw Elder Chiu, Elder Lung and I immediately came out to receive you, Elder Nalan said. He was also wearing a mask. Busy? That means that little bastard is back. Call him out. He has to give me an explanation, Elder Chiu said. What explanation? You're a guest. We'll receive you. You can forget about denouncing us. Lung Lai's attitude wasn't very good. Lung Lai, what do you mean? The masked Elder Chiu was a little angry. He did a mission and came to your territory. What's wrong with going around your branch? If you have the ability, don't take out the mission, and let the mission continue to hit you in the face. Lung Lai replied coldly. Don't be so sarcastic. This isn't a matter of going around. You can't say it out loud. Do you want to bring shame to our Donghao City branch? I can be the scapegoat, but I can't take the blame without knowing the truth, Elder Chiu said. Elder Chiu, have you thought of a problem? The mission member doesn't have anything to prove his identity. How can he explain it to you? Calm down and have a cup of tea. The mission is completed and everyone's face is preserved. Elder Lung, don't be agitated, Elder Nalan said. He didn't want to have a conflict. He didn't have anything to do. Elder Nalan, I'm very sorry. I didn't think things through. I only felt that I had been tricked, but in reality, I've wronged him. Elder Chiu was stunned for a moment before he spoke. Now that you've spoken, it's fine. Let's go and have some tea, Elder Nalan said. All right, call that kid. Elder Chiu cupped his hands towards Elder Nalan. It's best if you don't shout. When he discovered that you were here, he asked, why did you chase after me? And what else do you want to kill? Lung Lai said as he looked at Elder Chiu coldly. Isn't this a misunderstanding? However, this fellow is too cunning. The first time he went to the Godfiend Castle in Eastern Hao City, he said that he wanted to join, and then said that he would consider it. The second time he went there, he still used the excuse of joining and said that he needed to consider it. Logically speaking, whoever tricked us like this should be killed. The first time he went there, he used the Godfiend Castle's array formation to cut off his own clues. The second time he went there, he completed his mission, and then had the Godfiend Castle of Eastern Hao City clean up his mess. He's too evil, Elder Chiu said. The other party has a clairvoyant. He left the matter in Eastern Hao City and prevented the other party from tracing to Ethereal Imperial City. This reduced the risk by a lot. It's understandable that he did this, Elder Nalan said. After speaking, Elder Nalan brought Night Sorrow to the VIP room where Elder Chiu was. Sorry, it wasn't my intention to anger Senior. Night Sorrow cupped his fists towards Elder Chiu. Do you know that this is a slap in the face? If he wasn't one of us, I definitely wouldn't have let him off so easily, Elder Chiu said as he looked at Night Sorrow. Sorry, I won't be going to Eastern Hao City in the future. Senior, please don't worry. I won't accept missions in that area either. Night Sorrow said. He wasn't stupid. He had caused a huge mess there. If he didn't have to go, he naturally wouldn't go. If he didn't have to accept missions, he naturally wouldn't accept them. Why are you saying this now? Since you are one of us, you can go if you want to. I'm not a petty person. Elder Chiu was stunned. Not going? What if there were more difficult missions? She naturally wouldn't reply to Night Sorrow's words. Ha! Night Sorrow, if you go there to carry out missions again, you can go to the Godfiend Castle and all the clues will be cut off. Elder Chiu remembers your aura and won't make things difficult for you, Elder Nalan said with a smile. He naturally understood that Night Sorrow's words made Elder Chiu feel awkward. Then Night Sorrow would like to thank Elder Chio. Night Sorrow cupped his fists towards Elder Chio. I have to say that this mission was completed beautifully. Not only did you kill that bastard to get rid of evil for the people, but you also saved your reputation. So what if there were layers of protection? With the heaven monarchs of our God-fiend castle, it was a piece of cake, Elder Chio said. The conflict was resolved. When it came to missions, she was very confident. If they didn't solve this mission, the God-fiend castle of Donghao City would lose its reputation and status. The three elders were chatting and informed me if there was a mission. However, it would be best if there was more time. Besides, with such trash, even if the mission points are low, I will accept it. Night Sorrow stood up and said. After Night Sorrow left, the three elders took off their masks. Elder Chio had a delicate face and didn't look old. Elder Nalan, this little guy is very strong. According to the information that I have found out, the target's residence is protected by an Emperor-class array formation and has 6 Heaven Monarch bodyguards. It is really hard to succeed in the mission. Otherwise, we wouldn't have failed twice. We even have to take out the mission for everyone to think of a solution, Elder Chio said. His combat ability is very strong, and his control of the situation is also very good. Therefore, although we felt that the mission was difficult, we still recommended it to him. He didn't disappoint everyone, Elder Nalan said. How long has he been in the God-fiend castle? What is his status now? Elder Chio took a sip of tea and asked. He has only been in the castle for a short time, and he has only completed 1 mission. Elder Nalan laughed because it was hard for others to believe. Then, Elder Nalan talked about the details of Night Sorrow's first mission, and also talked about Night Sorrow's current situation. Incredible. Young people nowadays are really incredible. You all report this mission. I also have to add on because I know the difficulty of the mission the best, Elder Chio said. After Night Sorrow returned to his residence, he received a message that someone had declared war on him. It was a powerful Heaven Monarch from the Umber Prefecture. Normally, the Heaven Monarch of the Umber Prefecture and Night Sorrow had no grudges. However, the key was that this Heaven Monarch named Hua Du was now under Yang Yu's command. The situation doesn't look good. I might have been exposed, Night Sorrow said after pondering for a moment. Your last mission was exposed? Datura looked at Night Sorrow and asked. It should be. Actually, I shouldn't have used the Green Lotus Jade bracelet, but so what? In the blood battle arena, if they dare to challenge me, I will dare to fight, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 1591. Why is she here again? Night Sorrow frowned. Gong Xian was a problem. He didn't care about Guanyue Manor, but Gong Xian's master was a big shot. It would be troublesome to offend her. She was the great elder of the City Lord's Manor. If the City Lord's Manor gave any orders, then Night Sorrow's foundation in Ethereal Imperial City would be wasted. She wants to spar with you. Datura told him the reason why Gong Xian had come 2 days ago. Spar. Let's forget about it. Why is it still not over? Night Sorrow was a little angry. He didn't object to spars, but he hated entanglements. Spars could improve, but Gong Xian was a big problem, so Night Sorrow didn't want to have anything to do with her. Even if he won the spar, it would be a problem. Ehe. She said it's just a simple spar, Datura said with a smile. She probably got some pointers from her master, and didn't want to talk to her. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and poured himself a cup. Did it go well this time? Datura naturally knew what Night Sorrow had gone to do. It went well. Night Sorrow looked at Datura's curious expression, and told her what had happened. I didn't expect there to be such a scum. You should have roasted him and fed him to the beasts, or thrown his corpse into the dark abyss to torture him to death, Datura said. I've turned in the corpse. Forget it, I killed his original body. His doppelganger can't do anything, Night Sorrow said. That's not bad, Datura said. She only cared about Night Sorrow's success. Night Sorrow then told Datura that in the future, if there was anything he didn't want others to know, or if he didn't want to be divined, he could go to the Divine Castle. The Divine Castles in other cities might reject this, but Ethereal Imperial City probably wouldn't. This was a benefit for being on their side. After listening to Night Sorrow's explanation, Mandala froze for a moment. Her greatest worry was that someone would discover Star Moon City and the Primal Chaos Realm through her whereabouts. Hence, every time she returned to the Primal Chaos Realm, she would be extra careful. Even so, she still felt uneasy, worried that someone would divine her whereabouts. Now that she heard that the great formation of the God-Devil Castle had such an effect, she naturally felt much more at ease. After that, Datura told Night Sorrow about the situation in Huadu. Huadu was one of the more famous heavenly monarchs in the Shadow Manor. He was an expert in shadow techniques. What was shadow techniques? They could create many phantoms in battle. These phantoms could also attack, making them very difficult to deal with. I know him. He's on the list of experts from the Blood Battle platform that Lord Fuwu gave us. Since he wants to fight, we'll continue to kill. If there are Saint Spirit Stones, we'll earn them. Our Primal Chaos Realm needs Saint Spirit Stones to develop. In the future, when we have more Saint Spirit Stones, I'll set up a spirit gathering array for Sky City. By then, Sky City's cultivation environment will be even better, Night Sorrow said. I have confidence in you. Why don't we take the Saint Spirit Stones and let Ji Dao and Lanning bet on you? That way, we'll earn hundreds of thousands of Saint Spirit Stones every round, Datura said. That's not appropriate. The Blood Battle platform gives us 1 million Saint Spirit Stones every time. This is equivalent to giving us what we deserve. If we're insatiable, it'll make people dislike us. Everything else aside, from giving us the manor and the list of experts from the Blood Battle platform, it's already very generous of them, Night Sorrow said. Nothing in the world could be hidden from others. The Blood Battle platform was very powerful, so naturally, they were well informed. Some people and things could not be hidden. If Night Sorrow were to earn Saint Spirit Stones without a bottom line, he would be despised by others. You're right. We're already earning Saint Spirit Stones very quickly. My thinking is a bit off, Datura said. Asterisk. At this time, Song Ning and Wu Fing arrived at Night Sorrow's manor. You two have something to talk about. Wu Fing greeted them. We're just chatting. Big brother Old Song, take a seat. Night Sorrow took out a pot of soul-nourishing tea and brewed it. What's going on? Why is the Shadow Manor so hostile towards you? How did you provoke them? Wu Fing asked after taking a seat. Maybe I accidentally offended them. But trust me, big brother. I don't like to stir up trouble. I won't annoy people for no reason. But if I do, there must be a reason, Night Sorrow said. Haha. Brother, what are you talking about? If you provoke them, then so be it. If they want to bite you, they have to look at their teeth first. If you can't beat them in the Blood Battle platform, then I can't do anything about it. That's because you're not as good as them. If they dare to play dirty, I'll help you as much as I can, Wu Fing said. In fact, it was also a promise. In this world, you have to have the bigger fist. Night Sorrow smiled. He didn't feel anything about the Shadow Manor's current actions. If they wanted to retaliate, then so be it. After all, he had killed them first. There was nothing to complain about. Night Sorrow, the Celestial Master Pavilion's business is very good. But some of your pills are so expensive. Can they be sold? Song Ning asked. She had been to the Celestial Master Pavilion once yesterday. When she saw the price of the pills, she was speechless because the price was indeed high. I don't know much about business, but I know one thing. Saint Spirit Stones can be earned with ordinary pills. But rare pills are different. You have to exchange them for valuable resources. Most of the time, Saint Spirit Stones can't buy top-grade resources. If you want to exchange them, you have to accumulate some high-end resources. Night Sorrow said. This was also his inner thoughts. He wasn't a native of the celestial realm. If he didn't have enough resources, then he had to accumulate them. You have the right idea. Don't worry, we won't interfere with the business of the Celestial Master Pavilion. As for how much you can earn, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. Song Ning took the teapot and poured a cup of tea for herself. Old Song's business is big, so you definitely won't mind. But I don't understand why you want to cooperate with my humble shop, Night Sorrow said. Actually, it's nothing more than investment and profit. Some businesses invest Saint Spirit stones, and the profit is also Saint Spirit stones. In your shop, the investment is more complicated, but the profit can also be more complicated. For example, when you enter the Emperor Realm, what I gain is the friendship of the Emperor Realm cultivators. Now that you are the Emperor's preceptor, after you enter the Emperor Realm, your potential and strength in alchemy will be much stronger than other Emperor's preceptors. If I ask you to refine something, will you refuse? Song Ning said bluntly with a smile on her face. She wanted to see how Night Sorrow would respond, and what his attitude would be. Of course I won't refuse. I will remember those who help me on the road of life. If I can help them, I will not be stingy, Night Sorrow said. Actually, this isn't a business deal. It's a communication. Communication between people always starts like this. Didn't you and your brother start from doing business? If you need any help, you can come to me. But your brother knows that my business is big and I'm busy. Don't come to me for small things. Of course, I might not be able to do big things, Song Ning said after drinking a mouthful of water. Chapter 1592. Haha. Are you not telling the truth? Song Ning laughed. Then let me ask you something in front of my brother. Is there anything you can't do right now? Wu Fing put down the teacup in his hand. You want to talk, right? Then let's talk. If you need anything, even if you want to deal with Yang Tianlai or Gong Yufan, I can go to your door at any time. Because we're friends, because it's worth it. You know the specifics. Night Sorrow can't do it right now. We're not that close yet. If I help you regardless of the cost, I won't be able to explain it to myself. Song Ning slammed the table, his aura rippling. You're doing it again. Brother, don't mind her. She's just like that. Wu Fing smiled apologetically at Night Sorrow. Song Ning's words were very direct and hurtful. Night Sorrow, my words may hurt you, but I'm telling the truth. Everyone's value is different. Everyone's goal is to create value. To put it simply, why did the Blood Battle platform give you this mansion? Because you're valuable. When you can do whatever you want, maybe the Battle Emperor will give you a seat in the city. This is the way of the world. Of course, other than values, there are also some emotional factors that affect these rules. Song Ning said. Boss Song, you're right. Night Sorrow understands. Night Sorrow smiled. Song Ning's words were direct, but not enough to hurt Night Sorrow. Song Ning didn't value him very much, and they didn't have a deep relationship. Song Ning naturally wouldn't help him for everything. Night Sorrow, in the past, you've always been the one who set the value of others. In the celestial realm, we're just small fries now. However, I believe that one day, no one will be able to judge your value. Only you will be able to measure others' value. Datura looked at Night Sorrow. Song Ning's words didn't affect Night Sorrow, but it made Datura angry. Yeah, I know. As long as we work hard, there's nothing we can't do. If others can do it, we can do it too. Maybe we don't have a good foundation, or maybe we're lacking, but I've never felt that we're worse than others. Night Sorrow nodded. There was a bit of an awkward silence because everyone had different thoughts in their minds. Night Sorrow, I'm sorry. Song Ning pondered for a while, then cupped her hands at Night Sorrow. She didn't think that what she had just said was wrong, but Night Sorrow was a young man, and her words could easily hurt him. There's no need for that. Old Man Song's words are the truth. To be able to consider my feelings and apologize is a kind of kindness. Today, I've also learned a little more about Old Man Song, Night Sorrow said with a smile. This is also a kind of kindness. Hee, your worldview is really different from the average person. Just because of your worldview, you want me to treat you tonight? Go wherever you want to squander. Song Ning was in a good mood. He waved his arm and said. Under Song Ning's lead, the four of them went to a restaurant. The atmosphere was much more relaxed. Then Wu Feng asked Night Sorrow what they planned to do next. Big brother, my original body has been in seclusion all this time. No matter what my doppelganger does, it's fine. If they dare to challenge me, I dare to fight them to the death. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He was full of confidence. But if the doppelganger dies, it will cause the soul to be incomplete. So you have to be careful. Don't take my words too seriously. If you have any problems, you can find me. I will help you if I can. Song Ning said with a smile. Thank you, Song Ning. I won't hide it from Lord Song and Big Brother. Others may have such misgivings, but I'm not afraid. I'm a realm lord in my hometown. I have the world's origin to protect me. So what if my doppelganger dies? The world's origin will protect my soul. Even an emperor can't control the world's origin, right? Night Sorrow said. He said this to tell Song Ning that he was right. Realm lord. That's rare. But you have to be careful. If you really anger the big shots, they can still suppress the world's origin. Song Ning said. Then what if it's a high-level world, a world that's going to become a large world? Datira asked anxiously. That's very difficult. What kind of situation is this? Okay, you husband and wife win. You have more capital. Song Ning said speechlessly. She was a bit shocked. Brother, Big Brother has to say something. I have to admire you. Although realm lords are extremely rare, there are still some in the vast celestial realm. However, they are all low-level worlds. They might even be near destruction. Wu Feng said. Night Sorrow's world is a newborn world. It's only a few 100,000 years of growth. However, it's already surpassed a high-level world. Datira said with a smile. This was Night Sorrow's pride. It was also her pride. A few 100,000 years of growth, and it's already surpassed a high-level world. It should be you, the Realm Lord, who led the development of the world. Amazing. Song Ning gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up. Her evaluation of Night Sorrow had also changed. After drinking, they parted ways. Night Sorrow and Datira returned to their residence. Song Ning and Wu Feng arrived at Wu Feng's residence. QM head. Wu Feng, in all these years, you've only met one brother. But now you've met such an amazing person. I really have to hand it to you. Song Ning said. At the time, I just felt like they had a good temper. I'm the same as you. I only found out today. Wu Feng shook his head. It's impossible to take him in as a subordinate. His ambition is high. His ambition is in his bones, in his soul. He exudes nobility from the depths of his soul. Without a proud and noble soul, how can he become a realm lord? How can he be recognized by the heavenly Tao as the virtuous great sage? The entire Misty dynasty is going to be shaken. By the way, were my words a little hurtful today? Song Ning looked at Wu Feng and asked. Now you know how to regret and hurt people? But Night Sorrow won't mind. Wu Feng smiled. This was the first time he saw Song Ning regret. I don't regret it. I just feel like I didn't think it through. He's not even 200 years old. In fact, he's just a child. No matter how much he's been through, his endurance can't compare to us old guys. Song Ning said. I just realized that Night Sorrow was right. You're very kind. Ordinary people can't feel the kindness under the strong. Wu Feng said. To be able to get such an evaluation from you guys today, it's not bad. Tell me, if you go on the streets and say that Song Ning is kind, will anyone believe you? Song Ning asked Wu Feng. Of course no one will. But is it more important than whether people believe me? You don't care. Wu Feng coughed. Yes, I don't care at all. I haven't had many friends all these years. You, Wu Feng, are one. You think it's enough that I'm kind. That little guy is the Merit Grand Sage. If he says I'm kind, then I, Song Ning, am kind. I've thought of many ways to cure your old illness. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. Song Ning sighed. Chapter 1593. Wu Feng then told Song Ning about Night Sorrow's examination. The light of merit is the most righteous and masculine energy in the world. It can't be touched by evil. Once his cultivation improves, he can help you get rid of it. That's totally possible. I didn't think of that. Song Ning said happily. Let's not talk about this for now. Don't give him any pressure. Just let nature take its course. However, I don't think the Emperor Realm bottleneck will hold him back. With merit, some demonic barriers shouldn't exist. But the trials of wind and fire are a problem. If you have time, you should talk to him, Wu Feng said. Why don't you talk to him? Sell a favor to me? Song Ning glanced at Edgeless. She knew what Edgeless meant. Wu Feng smiled and nodded. He and Night Sorrow were brothers, so there was no need to say anything. However, Song Ning couldn't. Night Sorrow didn't trust Song Ning enough. Song Ning, you're right about one thing. I've only made one brother in all these years. My only friend is you, so I hope you're all well. Yishan is a little weak right now and needs help. Helping him will only bring you benefits. There's no harm at all. You both have thorns on your bodies. All I can do is hope that no one gets stabbed, said Edgeless. Actually, you don't have to explain. I know what you mean and what you're thinking. Maybe it's right that you didn't join the Tsongning army, or the City Lord Palace. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to talk so casually. I won't mention it again. Song Ning looked at Wu Feng. Wu Feng smiled and relaxed. He was worried that if he didn't join the Tsongning army or the City Lord Palace, Song Ning would mind and ruin their relationship. After Night Sorrow returned to his residence, he began to cultivate. He cultivated the destructive True Dragon Kill. He used the destructive energy to control time and space energy. He cultivated the ultimate skill according to the Great Emperor Reincarnation / When the three types of energy fused, a black halo appeared and rippled in all directions. Night Sorrow put away his spear. The fusion was a new ultimate skill, but he didn't know what effect it had. Come try it on me. Let's see what kind of negative effects it has. Datira stood opposite of Night Sorrow. Yongijio2 Free 8YFF. Read #fiction. Night Sorrow nodded. It was just a test of the negative effects, so there wouldn't be any harm. Brandishing the sky-splitting spear, Night Sorrow unleashed the True Dragon Destruction. A black halo that was completely different from the Death Destruction / rippled, and enveloped Datira. A moment later, Datira ran his fingers through his hair. This unique skill is ruthless. It's a confinement. My consciousness is very clear, but there's a confinement energy around my body. In a situation where my soul is disturbed, I can be confined for at least a breath of time. That's enough time for you to kill me. How did the destruction energy unique skill become a space-time confinement? Night Sorrow didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The effect was very strong, but it was different from what he had imagined. That's because your comprehension of the destruction intent isn't as high as the space-time intent. Although it's dominated by the destruction energy, the space-time intense effect suppressed the destruction energy's effect, Datira said. That should be the case, but it's not bad. If the original body and the doppelganger fight together, and one of them uses this control skill, then the kill can be completed, Night Sorrow said. After cultivating for 2 days, Night Sorrow arrived at the blood battle arena. Today he and Huado would fight. There were more people watching today. It should be said that when Night Sorrow fought, more people came to watch. Night Sorrow's roly-poly was now quite famous. The opening odds were 2-1. Night Sorrow's odds were 2-1, and Huado's were 1-2. Huado didn't question the blood battle arena's odds. However, when he looked at Night Sorrow, his gaze was unkind. Night Sorrow ignored Huado's gaze. Instead, he looked in another direction and saw Gong Xian's shadow accompanying an old man. Fu Wu ran over to greet them. Greetings, Lord. Arrange a private room. Also, place a bet of 100,000 yuan on this, Lord. The old man with a walking stick said. Who's next? Fu Wu asked. Who's next? This Lord doesn't know. I'm rooting for the younger one in the next round. The old man with the walking stick instructed Fu Wu. Then, he was led to a private room by the blood battle arena's staff. Others might not recognize this old man, but Fu Wu did. He was Yuanji, the great elder of the city lord's mansion. Troublesome. Seeing Gong Xian's shadow, Night Sorrow knew that this woman was studying him. That old man should be Gong Xian's master. On the top floor of the tallest building, Song Ning watched Yuanji enter the private room. He tapped his finger on the armrest of his chair. Looks like I need to put in some effort. Mansion Lord. What did you say? Little Star didn't understand Song Ning's words. He didn't know what order it was. Nothing. Song Ning waved his hand. Seeing Yuanji appear, Song Ning's first thought was that Yuanji must have come for Night Sorrow. Although he said he wouldn't snatch Yi Futian, there were still some tricks he could use. Song Ning knew that these old men were the most untrustworthy. Then he remembered that Night Sorrow was a virtuous sage. He had pride in the depths of his soul. Threats and promises were useless. The ethereal dynasty has been quiet for many years. Now the water is moving again. There's excitement. Songning exhaled and said, Mansion Lord, this Night Sorrow is really troublesome. Now there are people from 3 manors who want to kill him. This has never happened in the past. I wonder how long he can last. Little Star said. This situation had never happened in the past. 3 out of the 7 manors were hostile. Almost half of the people were there. How long? I think he can last forever, Song Ning said with a smile. Others didn't have confidence in Night Sorrow, but she did. She was clear about Night Sorrow's power. Besides, she decided to intervene. She wasn't afraid that those old men would make a move. Huado was very powerful, but he was useless against Night Sorrow. After a few death-shattering slashes and relying on his strong body, Night Sorrow took 2 of Huado's attacks head-on. Huado's head was smashed open. Night Sorrow's body was bleeding because he didn't use the mysterious yellow armor or the virtuous immortal body. He didn't want to appear too shocked. After receiving the bonus, Night Sorrow led Datira and the others out of the blood battle arena. Hey wait. Fatty Shin caught up from behind. What's the matter? Night Sorrow turned his head and asked. I'll treat you to a drink. If you win a few more rounds, others will fall into the pit, and I will come out. So, I'll treat you to a drink. How about it? Fatty Shun said. I only drink good wine. Night Sorrow looked at Fatty Shun and said. You can't look down on others. I was wrong to look down on you when I bet that you would lose. But I run a restaurant. How can I not have good wine? Let's go. Fatty Shun said with a smile. After coming out of the blood battle arena, Yuan Ji nodded to Gong Xian and said, Go back. Master has something to do. Chapter 1594. Yuan Ji was no exception. Today, he came to the blood battle arena because of Gong Xian's shadow, and to see what kind of person Song Ning valued. Night Sorrow's concealment could fool some people, but not the experienced Yuan Ji. After all, his cultivation was there for all to see. In addition, he could judge from the facts. He knew how strong his disciple Gong Xian was. When Gong Xian's shadow was suppressed, he guessed that Night Sorrow had a supreme attribute. After observing for a while, he discovered more things, so he made some decisions. They went to Fatty Shun's restaurant for a drink, and Night Sorrow packed a few more jars before leaving. Night Sorrow, the old man today, is an expert. He came with Gong Xian's shadow, so he should be Gong Xian's master. His arrival means that he is paying attention, so be careful. Datira said. As a top expert of the Chaos Realm, Datira could naturally see that Yuan Ji was not simple. That's the great elder of the ethereal imperial city, or rather, the entire ethereal dynasty. Not to mention his own strength, the power in his hands is monstrous. That's why this Gong Xian's shadow is troublesome, Night Sorrow said. It's not a good thing to be noticed. Datira naturally understood that Gong Xian's shadow might not have any malicious intentions, but he would bring trouble to Night Sorrow. It was too easy for Yuan Ji to deal with Night Sorrow, unlike the 7 prefectures. The 7 prefectures were only in charge of a few areas of the ethereal imperial city. Night Sorrow was not in their area, so they could not put any pressure on Night Sorrow. However, Yuan Ji was the great elder of the city lord residence. If he wanted to touch Night Sorrow, it would be an order. There was no way to deal with him. Make some preparations. If things don't work out, we'll retreat. There are many top forces in the celestial realm, and there are many places where we can mingle. Back then, we chose this place because of the ethereal battle emperor's reputation. Now, it doesn't seem to have much to do with us. If things don't work out, we'll just change locations, Night Sorrow said. Alright, then should we set up a teleportation array? We can leave at any time, Mandela said as she looked at Night Sorrow. Alright, but the mansion is located in the Azure Dragon district. It's the blood battle arena, so it shouldn't be too dangerous. Night Sorrow nodded. Some things were better prepared. Just as Night Sorrow was about to set up a teleportation array in his city as a means of retreat, the shadow of Gong Xian arrived. Seeing the shadow of Gong Xian, Night Sorrow didn't want to talk. After asking Datira to receive him, he wanted to leave. He really didn't want to communicate with him. Night Sorrow. You don't have to be so rude, do you? Seeing that Night Sorrow was about to leave, the shadow of Gongxian said, Isn't it enough that I left my wife to receive you? You're not my guest of honor. Being criticized by the shadow of Gongxian, Night Sorrow was a little unhappy. Comparing notes between cultivators can improve. There's nothing wrong with me coming to compare notes with you. Why do you have to put on such a long face? Gongxian looked at Night Sorrow and said, Are you naive, or are you playing dumb? The first time you came to me on behalf of the Guanyue mansion, and tried to force me to retreat, I didn't say anything. Don't you know who was in the wrong? Then you took your master to the blood battle arena. Do you think I don't have enough trouble? Night Sorrow said somewhat angrily. As a daughter, regardless of whether her father is right or wrong, there's nothing wrong with fighting for him. As a cultivator, there's nothing wrong with coming to compare notes with you. Don't you have this little bit of tolerance? Gongxian was very unhappy because in the past countless years, no one had given her any face. Don't force your thoughts on others. Regardless of whether your father is right or wrong, you still want to fight. Then should others be bullied by your family? Today, take your master to the blood battle arena and study me. After you've studied me, we'll meet at the blood battle arena. Otherwise, we'll pretend that we've never met. Night Sorrow got up and left. He didn't want to say anything else. Their positions were different, so there was no common language. After Night Sorrow left, the shadow of Gongxian didn't know whether to leave or stay. She didn't expect Night Sorrow to have such an attitude. Miss Gong, please take a seat. Datura nodded to shadow of Gongxian, and then brewed a pot of tea. Gongxian sat down in a daze because Night Sorrow's attitude still had a big impact on her. KE Original Version Debut. Miss Gong, please forgive Night Sorrow's attitude just now. However, what he said is also reasonable. Datura said. But I really didn't come here with any hostility. Last time, I had no choice but to fight for my family. This time, I came purely to compare notes and improve. Gongxian said. You had no choice, but from our point of view, you came knocking on our door. If Night Sorrow lost, what would the result be? Would he leave in disappointment? Everything he fought for in Misty City would be for naught. Datura said. I think so. I'm sorry, but this wasn't my intention. I just wanted to resolve the grudge. Gongxian's face was full of apology. It wasn't that she didn't think of some things, but she just didn't think about it. Your master's appearance in the blood battle arena will bring trouble to Night Sorrow, who only wants to cultivate quietly and improve his cultivation. Because we don't know how your master will deal with it, we took a big risk. To us, you actually mean trouble. Datura said. You have a point. I thought that if I didn't interfere in the matter between Guanyue Manor and Night Sorrow, it would be over. But it seems that I took it for granted. Gongxian looked in the direction of Night Sorrow's departure and said, Wait until the matter in front of us is over and the storm calms down. There won't be any harm in comparing notes then. Datura said. In fact, he also wanted to see her out. Understood. Then I'll take my leave. Gongxian stood up. She cupped her hands at Datura and left the manor. Datura was a smart person. She knew that the situation was different from what she thought. Night Sorrow had a reason to reject and dislike her. Of course, she believed that her position was correct. Night Sorrow left the misty Imperial City area and set up a teleportation formation in a hidden place. After hiding it, he returned to the manor. She left. Night Sorrow asked. He was asking about Gongxian. She left. She might have been cultivating in seclusion and didn't understand some of the ways of the world. She might not have thought about the trouble this matter would bring to us, Datura said. She was successful in her cultivation. She was able to become the champion of the Blood Battle Arena 100. Maybe her thoughts are all on this. As Night Sorrow spoke, she went to the place with the strongest defensive formation in the manor and set up a teleportation formation. This way, she could leave at any time. The main reason was that the threat UNG posed was too great. It gave Night Sorrow a lot of pressure. UNG came to the tallest mountain in the manor. At the top of the mountain was an exquisite glazed pagoda that towered into the clouds. Yuan-ji bowed in front of the pagoda. This was where Ethereal Battle Emperor cultivated. There was no end to cultivation. As a top expert, Ethereal Battle Emperor had also been cultivating in seclusion. After Yuan-ji bowed, the doors of the exquisite glazed pagoda opened. Chapter 1595. Then, a human figure appeared in the hall of the Twinkle Gem Pagoda. The figure was surrounded by swirling energy, filled with a mysterious aura. Yuan-ji greets the Battle Emperor. Yuan-ji bowed. Elder Yuan, what brings you here to see me? A female voice came from the figure. It's like this. A new cultivator has appeared in the ethereal imperial city. Currently, he is in conflict with the moon-gazing prefecture, sky-sun prefecture, and shadow prefecture. Every day he is fighting with the heaven monarchs of the 3 prefectures in the blood battle arena. The 3 prefectures have been humiliated. Yuan-ji bowed and said, There is such a thing? Continue. The figure was surprised to hear Yuan-ji's words. See chapter and section of the original asterisk version. 2. 6-inch. He is a good seedling. He is very young. Most importantly, he has a body of merit. Therefore, I want to resolve this conflict and take him into the City Lord Mansion. However, this might make the other 3 prefecture lords unhappy. Therefore, I would like to ask for an order from the Battle Emperor. Yuan-ji stated his intention. He wanted an order. He didn't want an order against the 3 prefecture lords. The 3 prefecture lords would give him face even without the Ethereal Battle Emperor. The main reason was Songning. You mean that if he joins the City Lord Mansion, the 3 prefecture lords can't make things difficult for him, and the grudges will be written off? The figure asked. Yes. A body of merit is hard to come by. Moreover, he has a lot of merit power. If he is taken into the City Lord Mansion, he doesn't have to do anything. All he has to do is raise him and bring some luck to the ethereal imperial dynasty. He might have a different idea, but with your order, the other prefecture lords can't interfere. He has no choice but to join, Yuan-ji said. The other prefecture lords he mentioned naturally included Songning. All right, Elder Yuan will deal with this matter at your discretion. The figure flashed and disappeared. Yuan-ji bowed and left the Twinkle Gem Pagoda. He had achieved his goal. If Night Sorrow didn't submit, he didn't need to consider the rules or other factors. He could directly banish him or even kill him. There were different factions within the Ethereal City's City Lord Manor. The representatives were the Elders, the Guardians, and the 7 Lords. If he could pull Night Sorrow into the City Lord Manor, then Yuan-ji would naturally pull him under his wing. This time, he planned to use the might of the War Emperor to do this. Night Sorrow didn't know what Yuan-ji was planning. He sent out a challenge letter, but the Heaven Monarch from the Moon-Gazing Prefecture rejected it again. However, he received a challenge letter from the Heaven Sun Prefecture. It was a Heaven Monarch named Shiliang who challenged him. Shiliang was also one of the 10 champions of the Blood Battle Arena. He specialized in wind attribute sword techniques, a side branch of the Void attribute, the Void Wind attribute. Shiliang had been invited by the Heavenly Sun Prefecture at a high price to temporarily join them and fight for them. A side branch of a supreme attribute was generally a high-level attribute, but its power exceeded that of a high-level attribute. Shiliang's challenge didn't bring any pressure to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow cultivated the Destruction True Dragon Kill every day. In addition, his original body was constantly accelerating time in the Haotian Godly Pagoda. With the support of the Seizing the Fortune of Heaven and Earth, he made new progress. With the combination of Battle Intent and Void Intent, the Void Heaven and Earth also made progress. Night Sorrow felt that he would soon be able to control the momentum of Heaven and Earth and enter the Pseudo-Emperor level. In addition, the Destruction Intent also improved and entered the level of a 4-star king. It was a mid-level king. Night Sorrow's Destruction True Dragon Art, which was the advanced absolute art of the Destruction True Dragon Kill, had increased its power again. Not only could it imprison the body, but it also had the power to attack the soul. However, it wasn't very strong and couldn't be compared to the Great Emperor Reincarnation / but it was stronger than the Death Destruction / It was time for the challenge. After changing his clothes, Night Sorrow brought Datura and Ji Dao to the blood battle arena. Then Night Sorrow sat in his usual seat. Yuan Ji arrived, and so did Gong Xian's shadow. This time, Yuan Ji didn't go to a private room. Instead, he sat in an open seat outside the cage and watched. Night Sorrow turned his head to look. At this moment, he was sure that a conflict with Yuan Ji was unavoidable. It was troublesome. On the top floor of the tallest pavilion, Song Ning looked at Yuan Ji's seat. Her fingers were constantly tapping the armrest of the chair. She knew very well that she had something to do. Yuan Ji had come to the blood battle arena twice, both times when Night Sorrow was fighting. This meant that he came to target Night Sorrow. And Night Sorrow couldn't withstand the pressure from Yuan Ji. Whether it was roping him in or suppressing him, Yuan Ji was not at the same level as the other three mansion masters. Song Ning had promised Wu Feng and was also Night Sorrow's partner. No matter how Yuan Ji tried to rope him in or suppress him, Song Ning wouldn't allow it. In addition, Yuan Ji had said that he wouldn't snatch Yi Futian. If he tried to do something, it meant that he didn't give her any face. Fu Wu walked to the front of the blood battle arena and introduced the two sides. Then it was time to look at the odds. Night Sorrow's odds were still 2-1. This was because Shi Liang was very powerful. After all, he was from a branch family with a supreme attribute. The people who were betting were still the same. They were all betting on Night Sorrow's opponent. Night Sorrow had won more than 10 matches, but it wasn't very convincing. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been called the Tumbler. No one knew why the blood battle arena was so optimistic about Night Sorrow. They only believed in their own judgment. After Night Sorrow and Shi Liang entered the cage, the battle began with the sound of the Soul Shatterer. Shi Liang's willpower erupted, suppressing Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow used the Will of Time as the main force. Hiding the Will of Space, he used the Will of Time to protect his body, resisting Shi Liang's suppression. In fact, suppression didn't exist. The time attribute was only second to the supreme attribute. It was comparable to the supreme attribute's branch. There was no such thing as suppression. After Shi Liang's willpower covered the entire cage, his body flashed and charged towards Night Sorrow. His speed was extremely fast. His body was covered in a greenish-purple light. That was the combination of wind energy and void energy. Shi Liang's wind attribute had already mutated. He even fused with the supreme attribute. Naturally, his speed was astonishing. However, when he reached the area affected by Night Sorrow's Will of Time, Shi Liang's speed was reduced. He couldn't form a suppression. Night Sorrow could block his attack with his spear. After blocking the attack, Night Sorrow used the Great Death Destruction Slash. However, the effect was only SOSO. To be able to become the champion of the 10 rings, he wouldn't be lacking in any aspect. He also had soul defense, but he would definitely be affected. After Shi Liang was affected, Night Sorrow used the afterimage body. Several figures pounced towards Shi Liang at the same time. Then the death energy erupted, attacking in all directions. In the midst of the attack, Night Sorrow used the True Dragon Destruction Art. He wanted to test the power of the True Dragon Destruction Art in a real battle. The death energy was used to cover the destruction energy. Under such circumstances, the possibility of being discovered was very low. The True Dragon Destruction Art was surrounded by the Will of Time and Space and Energy. He also used the death energy to cover himself. It was very difficult to be discovered. After the black halo enveloped Shi Liang, Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear shook again. With the fastest speed, he used the Time Spiral Kill. The Space Splitter Spear poured into Shi Liang's forehead. Chapter 1596. The battle had ended too quickly, almost as if it had just begun. What's going on? Hey, can't you find someone stronger? If one day I don't want to play anymore, I'll decline 2 battles, and then accept another one every 30 years. What do you think will happen? You'll look like you've eaten a fly, won't you? Night Sorrow raised his chin towards Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan. That's right. You can choose not to fight at any time. As long as you join the City Lord's mansion and the law enforcement team, they won't cause you any trouble. Yuan Ji stood up. Master. Gong Yufan was stunned. He wanted to say something but didn't. He had indeed brought trouble to Night Sorrow. She knew that if Night Sorrow wanted to, he would have joined the Guanyue mansion or some other faction long ago. It was because he didn't want to that he was in trouble today. What Yuan-ji said was exactly what Night Sorrow didn't want to do. Who are you? Although Yi Shan knew who he was, he still asked. Forever free. Little O said. City Lord's Mansion's Grand Elder Yuan-ji. Yuan-ji said. At that moment, on the top floor of the tallest building, Song Ning stood up. She knew something had happened, but she didn't expect Yuan Qiu to make a move. Night Sorrow looked around and smiled. He looked for Song Ning but didn't find her. Elder Yuan, I'm sorry, but I don't plan on joining any faction right now. Night Sorrow stated his decision. Night Sorrow heard Song Ning's voice in his mind, telling him to delay for a while. Night Sorrow looked around and sought Song Ning. Haha, that's your temporary decision. Mansion Lord Yang, Mansion Lord Gong, you can stop for now. Also, tell the other person to stop for now. This is the War Emperor's will. Yuan Qiu looked at Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan. He wanted them to pass the message to Mansion Lord Luo. Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai cupped their hands. They had to respect Yuan-ji's words, not to mention Ethereal Battle Emperor's words. It was an imperial edict. Your Night Sorrow, right? Think about it. This is the City Lord Mansion's idea, and also the Battle Emperor's idea. But let me tell you, the time you have to consider is not bad. Yuan-ji looked at Yi Shang and then turned to leave. Gong Xian did not leave. He was still sitting in his original position. Night Sorrow returned to Datira's private room. What should come has come. Let's go back and think of a way to solve this. Datira's face was solemn. After receiving the bonus, Night Sorrow and Datira led Ji Dao out of the blood battle arena. At the entrance, they saw Gong Xian. I'm sorry, it wasn't my intention to cause you all this trouble, Gong Xian said. Your intentions may not be wrong, but you are a big problem, Night Sorrow said. Then Night Sorrow and Datira sat in the beast carriage driven by Ji Dao and returned to the City Lord Mansion. The situation was urgent. Night Sorrow had to deal with it. If Yuan-ji wanted to make a move, he would not be able to handle it. Get everyone to pack up. I'm going to the Celestial Master Pavilion to collect our top-grade pills and weapons. We're not playing anymore. We're not playing with them anymore. Let's go somewhere else, Mandela said angrily. There's no rush. Someone will come soon. Let's talk first. Night Sorrow said. He had received a message from Song Ning, which meant that Song Ning knew about Yuan-ji's appearance in the blood battle arena. Song Ning would definitely come to find Night Sorrow. Sure enough, just as Night Sorrow finished serving tea, Song Ning, dressed in a white robe and with his hair tied up high, appeared with a valiant aura. However, unlike before, Song Ning was filled with anger. Boss Song, you're here. Have a seat. Night Sorrow said. This old bastard wants to play a trick on me? He's really thinking too much. Song Ning poured a cup of tea from the teapot. After drinking it, he sat across from Night Sorrow. The City Lord Mansion's actions are different from the actions of the other manors. They are the rulers of Ethereal Imperial City. Whether they want to expel me or kill me, I have no power to resist. However, it's not that easy to force me to submit, Night Sorrow said. Now, I'll tell you the situation. Then you can make a choice. No matter what you choose, I will respect your decision. Song Ning then revealed his identity. Song Ning was not only the Mansion Lord of Song Ning Mansion, but also one of the elders of the City Lord Mansion. He was also in charge of the blood battle arena. Mansion Lord Song, Night Sorrow failed to recognize Mount Tai. Night Sorrow said with a wry smile. It was Wu Feng's idea to hide his identity. He was worried that you would reject him. However, I really think highly of you, so I want to support you. Song Ning said. I can understand Mansion Lord Song's good intentions. However, the current situation is not good. Yuan-ji thought that Mansion Lord Song would interfere, so he brought up Lord War Emperor. Under such circumstances, Mansion Lord Song can't help me even if he wants to. Later, when they declare war, I will retreat. Then I will retreat. We will meet again. Night Sorrow was shocked to learn Song Ning's identity. Song Ning Mansion had 7 mansion lords. He was the most powerful mansion lord. But even so what? The person in charge of the ethereal dynasty was the ethereal war emperor. He couldn't let Song Ning go against the ethereal war emperor for him. Besides, Song Ning wouldn't do that. Yuan Ji is in charge of the Guardian team in the City Lord Mansion. The Guardian team exists to maintain the stability of the ethereal dynasty. As for me, I'm in charge of the Guardian team. I'm in charge of the Guardian team. My job is to clean up the internal members of the ethereal dynasty and maintain the dignity of Lord War Emperor. Yuan Ji should have gone to see Lord War Emperor. I don't know what he said, but it's true that he received the Imperial Edict. However, the Imperial Edict didn't say that you have to join the Guardian team. Song Ning said. Song Ning, do you have a solution? Wu Feng came. He had already received the news. There is a solution. However, Knight Sorrow isn't willing to accept it. Lord War Emperor wants me to join the City Lord Mansion. Song Ning Army, the Guardian team, and the Blood Battle Arena can do it. However, Knight Sorrow doesn't like it. Song Ning said. I don't want to be restricted. Mansion Lord Song, I'm sorry. Knight Sorrow sighed. He really doesn't want to be restricted. Knight Sorrow, why don't you go to the Blood Battle Arena and become a guest elder? I won't make things difficult for you in any way. You should trust me on that. It's just a title. Song Ning spoke his mind. What does a guest elder of the Blood Battle Arena mean? Knight Sorrow didn't understand. It means to control the Blood Battle Arena. If there are any troublemakers, they will be killed. Or, if there are people who want to harm the Blood Battle Arena, they will have to fight for the Blood Battle Arena. Song Ning said. Knight Sorrow, what do you think? Wu Feng asked. Chapter 1597. Thank you, Prefecture Lord Song. Knight Sorrow cupped his fists towards Song Ning. I prefer you to call me Old Song. Don't treat me as your subordinate just because you've joined the Blood Battle platform. That's boring. We can't even be friends. I might as well send you away, Song Ning said. There's another benefit. You're a member of the Blood Battle platform. You can accept the challenge if you want to. They can't bite you, Wu Feng advised with a smile. The 7 prefecture lords and elders can't touch the Blood Battle platform? Knight Sorrow asked in astonishment. No, they all coexist. The other prefecture lords don't dare to touch the Blood Battle platform because they can't provoke the Blood Battle platform lord, Wu Feng said with a smile. Knight Sorrow cupped his fists towards Song Ning. He knew that this was all due to Song Ning's strong deterrence. Haha. The Guardians are also monitoring this place. They probably don't want to give Knight Sorrow a chance to retreat. It's either join or die. Song Ning snorted coldly. Song Ning snorted coldly. She detected that some people had appeared around Yi Shang's mansion. They were the City Lord's mansion's law protectors. That won't happen. I've set up a teleportation array. Even if someone attacks, I'll activate the defensive array and teleport away easily, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. It's good to be vigilant in times of peace. Wu Feng, do you think Yuan Ji will be flustered and exasperated if I announce that Knight Sorrow has joined the Blood Battle platform? Song Ning said with a smile. Of course. How can he not be angry after being slapped in the face? But do you think he'll act out of anger and harm Knight Sorrow? Wu Feng was a little worried. He wants to slap me in the face, so why don't I slap him in the face? Last time he asked me about Knight Sorrow, he already knew my attitude. He also promised me that he wouldn't play any tricks under the condition that he won't snatch Knight Sorrow. Take it that I'm afraid of him. However, Knight Sorrow, you have to hurry up and enter the Emperor realm. Lord Battle Emperor doesn't care about matters below the Emperor realm. If you want to stand firm, you have to be strong, Song Ning said. I'm working on it. Knight Sorrow nodded. Also, don't panic when there's an opportunity. The trials of wind and fire are very difficult to pass. I'll explain it to you in detail when I have the time, Song Ning said. Knight Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands towards Song Ning. Many thanks, but I'm not worried about the trials of wind and fire. It's just that I haven't cultivated for long enough, so my foundation isn't enough. Give me some more time, and I'll be able to enter the Emperor realm. Knight Sorrow was very confident in his cultivation. Aren't you worried about the trials of wind and fire? Edgeless looked at Knight Sorrow in surprise. Yes. By chance, I managed to cultivate the leakless true body. After saying that, Night Sorrow fully activated his leakless true body. Normally, Night Sorrow would only slightly activate his leakless true body to hide his true energy and light of virtue. But now that he was fully operating his leakless true body, Night Sorrow's aura was completely restrained, making him look like an ordinary person. What a waste of my feelings. But that won't do. Is there any good tea left? Hand over a little more, Song Ning said. Haha, that's fine. Even if there isn't any, I'll have to give old Song a packet, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Song Ning's words were a sign of friendship. Take this first. If someone uses the City Lord Mansion to pressure you, take it out. I'll take responsibility for it. Song Ning tossed a red token to Night Sorrow. In the City Lord Mansion, Yuanji's residence, Gongxian Shadow was somewhat unhappy. Master, aren't you forcing him? Gongxian Shadow asked. What's the harm to him? Not only will it solve his current problems, but after joining the Law Protector team, he'll have better resources to assist his cultivation. He'll be able to receive better guidance. This is his opportunity. To me, having an additional seedling with potential under my command is a win-win situation. Yuanji squinted his eyes as he leaned on his walking stick with both hands. Master might be right, but everyone's decision is different. He might not agree. After interacting with Night Sorrow twice, Gongxian Shadow could be considered to have understood Night Sorrow's character. Disagree? That's not up to him. This is Lord War Emperor's will. Your father and Yang Tianlai can't stop him. However, Song Ning's side is a problem. No, I'll go now to prevent any more trouble. Yuanji stood up and strode out of his residence. Night Sorrow and his wife accompanied Song Ning and Wu Feng as they chatted. Song Ning also told Night Sorrow about the current situation in the Ethereal Dynasty. The Ethereal Dynasty was the only top-notch power in this hundreds of millions of miles of territory. However, there were many smaller powers in this territory, such as the City Lord Mansion's elders, Law Protector families, Mansion Lords' families, Army Commanders' families, and so on. Only Ethereal Battle Emperor was alone. Ethereal Battle Emperor didn't have any relatives or disciples. Therefore, he didn't care about the conflicts between the powers under his command. Yuan clan was one of the more powerful clans, because they had Yuanji as their pillar. In the Ethereal Dynasty, Yuanji only needed to look at Ethereal Battle Emperor's face and care about his thoughts. What about the demonic god castle? Does it coexist peacefully with the Ethereal Dynasty without any conflicts of interest? Night Sorrow asked. I'm not sure. I'm not too sure about that. The Divine Castle is a joint force of guilds. They don't affect the normal operations of the other forces. And if they don't take the initiative to provoke the Divine Castle, the Divine Castle won't cause trouble for anyone. They only accept quests to maintain a balance and earn some resources. As for the internal members, it's more complicated. There are members of all kinds of forces, and anyone could have someone from the Divine Castle by their side. Don't think about it, and don't provoke them. Night Sorrow understood this point. The fact that the demonic god castle could even kill emperors was proof of this. He's here. Song Ning had a smile on her face, but her eyes flickered. She had followed Ethereal Battle Emperor for many years, and later took charge of the Songning Mansion and Songning Army. She had developed a domineering aura. This time, Yuanji had schemed against her, so she was naturally angry. Read Q novels for free forever $$X fee. Yuanji barged in directly without any message, because he was here on behalf of the City Lord Mansion. In the Ethereal Imperial City, the City Lord Mansion didn't need to greet anyone, let alone report anything. Songning, you're here too? Seeing Songning, Yuanji cupped his hands. He had already sensed Songning's presence outside, but so what? Without the Ethereal Battle Emperor's edict, he would have to consider how Songning would react. But with the edict in hand, anyone would have to back off. Elder Yuan, you're really something. You said you wouldn't snatch people, and now you're using the Battle Emperor's power to do things. You're really impressive. Songning sneered. This is the Battle Emperor's order. If you're not satisfied, you can tell him. Yuanji knocked on the ground with his walking stick. Chapter 1598. Night Sorrow, I don't have much time to waste with you. If you join the City Lord's mansion, I'll give you a good position. If you don't, then you're not giving the Battle Emperor any face. I can't keep you. Yuan looked at Night Sorrow and said. His words were filled with killing intent. He did not want to delay any longer. He knew that if he continued to drag things out, Night Sorrow, who hated him, might end up with Song Ning. You keep talking about the Battle Emperor. You can't live without the Battle Emperor? Night Sorrow frowned and said. He did not expect Yuan to be so despicable. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Song Ning smiled and shook his head. This was not giving face, and his words were not polite at all. You really deserve to die. I am following the Battle Emperor's orders. If you agree, you can live. If you don't, you will die. Yuan said coldly. Is it appropriate for you to threaten my people like this? Song Ning took 2 steps forward and arrived next to Night Sorrow. Song Ning, what do you mean? Yuan eyes twitched. Elder Yuan, I reckon that you must have shamelessly gone to the Battle Emperor to ask for the Imperial Edict. I don't know what you said, but I'll have to trouble Great Elder to investigate this matter thoroughly before asking for the Imperial Edict. He is a guest of my blood battle stage, and has some status in the law enforcement team. After Song Ning finished speaking, he took a sip of tea. Yuan did not give him face, and now that he had the chance to retaliate, he would not be polite. Song Ning, you will definitely ruin my plan, right? Yuan face turned pale. You have the nerve to say that? We have a shop together. Not to mention that we are partners, he is also my friend. If you want to be shameless, then I will not give you face. What can you do about it? Don't talk about the Battle Emperor's orders. The Battle Emperor wants him to join the mayor's mansion, not your law enforcement team or your Yuan family. He is also a subordinate of the mayor's mansion under my command. Song Ning looked at Yuan Yuan face was ashen because he had miscalculated. Song Ning was still 1 step ahead of him. Song Ning's actions were also in accordance with the ethereal Battle Emperor's Imperial Edict. Song Ning, are you trying to play a trick? He won't live. Yuan snorted coldly. Do you dare to touch him? Today I, Song Ning, will put my words here. If you dare to use underhanded means to touch him, your Yuan family will have no descendants. Song Ning's robe fluttered, and his aura spread out in all directions. Song Ning, are you planning to go against me to the end? Yuan could barely suppress his aura. So what if I go against you? You, Yuan are not qualified to slap my face. It's up to you whether you want to fight or complain. I'll play with you to the end. Song Ning narrowed his eyes at Yuan After sizing up Song Ning and Night Sorrow and laughing loudly, Yuan left. Today's matter had already been decided, and he could no longer do anything. After Yuan left, Song Ning and Wufeng sat down again. Who do you think you are? Shameless old man. Song Ning took a sip of tea. I'm not looking for trouble, but this matter came to me because I had no choice. Night Sorrow smiled bitterly. It's fine. Song Ning is protecting you now. No matter who wants to touch you, they'll have to think twice. Wufeng said. Wufeng was very happy that Song Ning was willing to protect Night Sorrow. Wufeng, you don't understand Yuan That old fox won't give up so easily. He might not do anything on the surface, but he has many tricks up his sleeve. He might even try to assassinate you. Song Ning shook his head. That old bastard is so shameless? Datura asked in surprise. And in B latest chapter, section and in B, if we're talking about battle strength, Yuan isn't the strongest among the City Lord Mansion's elders, but how did he become the Grand Elder? It's because he's scheming and unscrupulous. He has many capable people under him, so he has some ways to deal with Night Sorrow. Song Ning said. Then does Mansion Master Tsong have any good suggestions? Night Sorrow asked. It's more comfortable to call him Old Man Tsong. It's not distant. I really don't have any good suggestions. You can only be careful. He can't use the City Lord Mansion's power to suppress you. He can only make trouble for you in the dark. Song Ning shook his head. Night Sorrow rubbed his forehead, feeling helpless. It really wasn't easy to deal with. The opponent was too strong. Be careful. Try not to give him the chance to attack you. Edgeless said. Night Sorrow, don't worry about the Sage Pavilion in the future. Let Hong Yi and Lan Ning handle it. If there's anything, they'll inform you. Stay in the mansion. They won't dare to attack our mansion. Datura thought for a moment and said, I can't be afraid to go out just because of Yuan-Ji's hostility. Otherwise, I won't be able to live. Night Sorrow shook his head. Yuan-Ji won't make a move easily. If things get out of hand, there'll be no room to maneuver. He'll probably send people to do sneak attacks and assassinations. You have to be able to escape if there's danger. Whether it's the blood battle platform or the mansion. As long as you can get to one place, you'll be safe. Insert this into your teleportation array, and give me one of the teleportation crystals. Song Ning said. Night Sorrow nodded and took the teleportation crystal from Song Ning's hand. He then split the teleportation crystal from his mansion, and gave it to Song Ning. It'll be relatively safe this way. My main body has been cultivating in the mansion. If there's a battle here, I'll be able to rush over immediately. Edgeless glanced in the direction of his mansion. His avatar was outside. Also, the most important thing is your base. If Yuan-Ji discovers your base and uses some methods, will you submit? Song Ning looked at Night Sorrow. That's a problem. After all, clairvoyance can use divination. Night Sorrow felt a headache coming on. Take this with you. If you're afraid of being divined, take someone who can leave a clue with me. I'll help you clean up this tale. Song Ning thought for a moment and said, Okay, Aluo, go call Hong Yi back. Then take Lan Ning and Old Song for a walk. Night Sorrow said to Datura. He knew Song Ning was powerful, but he didn't expect him to be this powerful. There's one more problem, Song Ning said. The consequences of this matter will be that he and I will be at odds with each other. His subordinates may challenge you to a duel in the blood battle arena and kill you. At the same time, they'll slap me in the face, Song Ning said. Don't worry. I'm not afraid of that. If they dare to fight at the blood battle platform, I'll kill them one by one until they don't dare to fight. Night Sorrow said. Domineering. I admire your domineering attitude. In the future, you don't have to worry about the odds of the blood battle. It doesn't matter. If anyone dares to provoke you, just destroy them. Tell that old Yuan-Ji to fight to the end if he doesn't like it. If he doesn't fight, he can't afford to lose people. If he fights, he can't afford to lose people. Song Ning said. Haha, Old Song is too bad. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Am I as bad as you? Song Ning looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. Then said. Here's the first update. Chapter 1599. Since when did I become a bad guy in your eyes? Night Sorrow looked at Song Ning puzzled. Do you know how many people you've cheated in the blood battle arena? Let's not talk about the people you've killed, but how many people you've cheated are poor. How dare you say I'm bad? Song Ning said. _forever free X reading 5 novels. That's because you guys set the odds, okay? Besides, if you dare to gamble, you must be prepared to lose. If you dare to go to the blood battle arena, you must be prepared to die. Who cheated who? I cheated those who deserved it. Night Sorrow despised Song Ning in his heart. Okay, let's cheat people together. Bring out the wine and celebrate our cooperation. Song Ning said with a smile. The four drank together. During the banquet, Song Ning invited Datura to the blood battle arena as a deacon. Night Sorrow and Datura agreed immediately. They understood that Song Ning wanted to give Datura an identity. In the ethereal imperial city, it was important to have a righteous identity. After that, Datura left with Lan Ning and Song Ning, who were called back by Hong Yi and Ji Dao. Their main purpose was to cut off some clues. Night Sorrow and Wu Feng were drinking wine. Brother, the future is dangerous, but it's also very exciting. Wu Feng raised his glass to Night Sorrow. Big brother, I actually like this kind of life. I don't bully others, but if anyone bullies me, I'll fight and improve myself. Night Sorrow said. Okay. Don't forget to call me Big Brother. We're not afraid of anyone. Wu Feng said. Yuan-Ji returned to the attic of the City Lord Mansion. His face was ashen. This time, he had lost completely. So what if he had shamelessly asked for the Imperial Edict from the Battle Emperor? He had made Song Ning's wedding dress. Yuan-ji also knew that Night Sorrow had joined Song Ning's team after he had spoken in the blood battle arena. In other words, it was a mistake on his part. If he had directly suppressed Night Sorrow in the blood battle arena, and not given Song Ning a chance to meet alone, Song Ning wouldn't have succeeded. Of course, Yuan-ji wouldn't let it go so easily. This time, Song Ning didn't want to give him any face. This could be considered as the beginning of a battle between the two of them. They had to determine who was the strongest person without the War Emperor's intervention. Yuan-ji then left. He still had to make arrangements for his subordinates. After Yuan-ji left, Gong Xianying stood on the side and pondered. She hadn't said anything when she saw Yuan-ji's dark face. However, she was sure that she had fought with Yi Shang and then found Yuan-ji. She had already blown the matter out of proportion. This wasn't what she wanted, but the current situation wasn't something she could control. Song Ning returned to the blood battle arena after letting Datura bring Hong Yi and Lanning back. After thinking for a while, Song Ning returned to the City Lord Mansion. She also needed to make some arrangements. She didn't return to her own courtyard. Instead, she went to the Song Ning army's encampment and called the army commanders to the main tent. Lord Mansion Master, do you have a mission? A handsome man in silver armor asked. There is a mission. This time, it's not the City Lord Mansion's mission. However, it involves my reputation, Song Ning said. Your reputation is our Song Ning army's reputation. You can arrange any mission, the man in silver armor said. He was the army commander of the Song Ning army's Flying Rock Army, Peng Wanli. All right, Wanli, arrange for the Flying Rock Army's Shadow Knights to protect someone. This person is called Night Sorrow. Go to the blood battle arena and find Fu Wu for the information. I only have one request. He is a heaven monarch. If anyone above that level appears and threatens his safety, he must hold on until I arrive, Song Ning said. There will be Thear-cranked cultivators going to kill heaven monarchs? Another woman in red armor asked in surprise. Naturally. Will you go as well? There must be no mistakes. Song Ning said to the female army commander in red armor, Wu. Yes. Lord, can you tell us who wants to touch the person you want to protect? Wu cupped her hands and asked after receiving the order. All right, I'll tell you. Song Ning nodded and told them the whole story. She and the Song Ning army soldiers were like Night Sorrow and the 9 Heaven army soldiers. They were subordinates, but they were also friends and brothers. Ah, interesting. Let's see what that old fox has up his sleeves. Mansion Master, well done. We can't show him any respect. Peng Wanli laughed. Everyone didn't feel any pressure. The Song Ning army was invincible every time they went out. They weren't afraid of anyone. With all of you secretly protecting him, I can rest assured. Song Ning nodded. Mansion Master, you said that you only care about those above the Heaven Monarch realm. What if the other party sends many Heaven Monarchs to kill him? We won't do anything? Wu asked. No. No matter how many Heaven Monarchs go after him, you don't have to care. Song Ning nodded. It seems like Mansion Master has a lot of confidence in this guy. Another army commander said with a smile. That's right. He's invincible among those of the same level. No matter how many Heaven Monarchs go, they won't be enough for him to kill. All right, go and make the arrangements. Song Ning finished and left the Song Ning army's encampment. Wu, if Mansion Master can say that he's invincible among those of the same level, he must be a ruthless person. Let's go and find Fu Wu first. After this guy left the army, he still remembered to bring back some good wine to show his respect to me. I haven't heard from him for a long time now, Peng Wanli said. Fu Wu used to be his subordinate and later went to the blood battle arena. When Song Ning entered the Godfiend castle, Nalan and Lung Lai were originally going to welcome him. However, Song Ning left immediately, which stunned them. It seems like she wants to cover up the clues of the people around her. Who can make her so cautious? Among them is Night Sorrow's wife, Lung Lai said. There aren't many people who can make her feel pressured. It seems like we might have missed the news. Find someone to investigate and see what happened during this period of time that we don't know about, Nalan said. You should know about these things. Lung Lai looked at Nalan and said, I'm not sure. However, if I'm not wrong, Yuan Ji must have done something. No one else can attract Song Ning's attention, Elder Nalan said. Haha, isn't this interesting? Yuan Ji's style of doing things is not good. His character is also not good. It's only a matter of time before he suffers losses. I don't think he'll succeed if he offends Song Ning, Lung Lai said. Alright. Elder Lung, keep watch here. I'll go out for a walk, Elder Nalan said. Chapter 1600. Q Yong square root SGU free. Look at Q hashtag little 6R. Half-step Imperial Realm was below the Emperor Realm. It was considered a rank 8 Heaven Monarch, and could participate in the blood battle arena to fight against Heaven Monarchs. However, very few half-step Imperial Realm cultivators would participate in the blood battle arena. Half-step Imperial Realm cultivators would work hard to break through to the Emperor Realm. Participating in the blood battle arena would have a huge drawback. Although it was only doppelgangers that participated in the blood battle arena, the death of the doppelgangers would be a huge loss to the original body. They might even lose the chance to enter the Emperor Realm. No one would gamble their future. It was not worth it. Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan met. Chief Yang, what do you think about the current situation? Gong Yufan asked. What do I think? Do you want to offend Yu Yuanji just to kill a piece of trash? Yang Tianlai said with hatred. He could not afford to offend Yuanji. At this moment, they did not know that Night Sorrow had already arrived at Song Ning's place. Gong Yufan sighed. He was not afraid of conflicts with the other chiefs. However, Yuanji was not someone Yang Tianlai could afford to offend. Neither could Gong Yufan. The 7 prefecture lords had their own territories within the ethereal imperial city. They also had their own territories outside the imperial city, which were all managed by their own clans. If they angered Yuanji, not only would they be affected within the ethereal imperial city, their territories outside the imperial city would also be affected. If it was more serious, their territories might even be wiped out. By then, who would they look for? The ethereal battle emperor? The ethereal battle emperor did not care about these things. However, things are not absolute. Night Sorrow is a tough nut to crack. He is also a hothead. What if he refuses to join the City Lord Mansion? At that time, we'll just take orders from Elder Yuan and kill him in broad daylight, Yang Tianlai said. Yes, that guy is a hothead. If he doesn't listen to Elder Yuan, it will be much easier for us to kill him. Gong Yufan nodded. Then, Gong Yufan went to the Shadow Mansion to look for Luo Yuandao, and told him about Yuanji's intentions. He is going too far. He wants to recruit talents, but we have to give up our hatred? He is powerful, but he can't bully us like this. Luo Yuandao said angrily. His son had been killed, yet he had to swallow his anger. This made Luo Yuandao very angry. He felt that this was a humiliation. Then what does Palace Lord Luo mean? I can't accept this either, said Gong Yufan. Let's gather information first, and see what that brat's decision is. If he agrees to join Yuanji, we'll go find Sir Battle Emperor, and ask Yuanji to hand him over. Does Yuanji really think that he's the boss of Ethereal Imperial City? Luo Yuandao's face was full of anger. He couldn't accept such a humiliating order from Yuanji. All right, then this noble one will also tell Yang Tianlai about it. Gong Yufan nodded. He had come here to listen to Luo Yuandao's opinion. Luo Yuandao was considered one of the upper echelons of the 7 prefecture lords. His words carried more weight than Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai. After cultivating for an entire night, Fu Wu appeared just as Night Sorrow was about to head to the Celestial Master Pavilion to take a look. Someone wants to challenge you. It's Heavenly Monarch Tai Lin. He hopes to fight tonight. Also, Lord Luo asked you to go to the blood battle arena in the evening. Fu Wu waved at Night Sorrow. Thank you for your hard work, Brother Fu. I'll accept the challenge. I'll definitely be there in the evening. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Song Ning probably had other plans for him. If there was a challenge, then he would accept it first. If he didn't accept it now, it would be a blow to his morale. Tai Lin is very strong. He doesn't have any battle records in the blood battle arena, but I feel pressured when facing him. Therefore Lord Yi, please be careful. Fu Wu bowed to Night Sorrow and left the Yi residence. As soon as Fu Wu left the Yi residence, he was pulled to a tavern. In the tavern, Peng Wanli, who was wearing a silver battle armor, and Kei Wu, who was full of charm, were drinking wine. Fu Wu greets the two generals. Fu Wu was stunned when he saw Peng Wanli and Kei Wu. You still know that we're generals? Ever since the Flying Rock Army released you, you've been like a dragon swimming in the ocean. Why didn't you go back and take a look? Peng Wanli looked at Fu Wu and said, General, it's not like that. At the beginning, I was helping out, so I had time. The original host was in seclusion trying to break through to the Emperor realm, so I didn't have time to go back. Fu Wu explained. He used to be Peng Wanli's subordinate, and was later arranged to be in the blood battle arena. So you're busy. Then I won't blame you. This time, I'm looking for you. There's a person called Night Sorrow in the blood battle arena. Give us his information. Peng Wanli looked at Fu Wu and said, General, I'm sorry, but this will have to wait. I have to report this to the mansion lord. Fu Wu hesitated and said, That's good. You're more principled. Go back to the blood battle arena and talk to the mansion lord. Then give us his information. Be quick. Peng Wanli said. All right. Men, send over some jars of good wine. Fu Wu left. As he was leaving, he called out to the waiter. After drinking the wine, Peng Wanli looked at Kei Wu and said, This bastard. He ordered good wine but didn't pay the bill. This is the style of the Flying Rock Army. Starting from you, everyone is like this. Kei Wu said. Peng Wanli didn't say anything. Regardless of whether Kei Wu was right or wrong, he didn't refute because the women of the Tsongning army were not to be trifled with. Fu Wu was very efficient. After asking for instructions from Tsongning, he sent Night Sorrow's information to Peng Wanli and Kei Wu. Although the information was limited, it could prove that Night Sorrow had fought many times in the ethereal imperial city, but he was undefeated so far. There's a reason why the mansion lord thinks so highly of him. Let's see how we can deploy him. His movements are fixed. His mansion, Celestial Master Pavilion and Blood Battle Arena. Forget about the Blood Battle Arena. No one dares to make a move under the mansion lord's nose. We need to pay attention to his mansion, the roads, and the Celestial Master Pavilion. Kei Wu said. Let's do this. Send some men to the Celestial Master Pavilion. As long as Entharch Cultivator appears nearby, inform us. The two of us will find an inn near his mansion and follow him from afar. The aura of Entharch Cultivator can't be hidden from us. As for the encirclement of heaven monarchs, it's his problem if he can't handle it. Peng Wanli explained the plan. Okay, we'll do as you say. Arrange your men in the Celestial Master Pavilion. I'll send the spies of the Kei Wu army to the roads. Kei Wu nodded. In the evening, Night Sorrow and Datura set off in the beast carriage driven by Ji Dao. Night Sorrow was still wearing a white battle robe, while Datura was wearing a black skirt embroidered with golden Datura flowers. However, there were two crossed swords on her shoulders. That was the symbol of the blood battle arena. Anyone who didn't know better would be in trouble. It was a provocation to the blood battle arena. Chapter 1601. Datura said. Today's situation will probably be very special. Conflicts can't be hidden. Let's see who's tougher. Aluo, I have defensive spells on me. You have to be careful. If your identity in the blood battle arena doesn't work, then activate the defensive array disc and teleportation array disc and leave. Night Sorrow looked at Datura. I know, don't worry. I don't want anything to happen to me. I have a husband and a son, so I care about my own safety. If I can't do it, then I'll run. Datura smiled. She knew that she was Night Sorrow's biggest weakness and worry here. I'm relieved that you think that way. Night Sorrow held Datura's hand and said. In Night Sorrow's heart, the safety of his family was the most important. Without any worries, he was confident no matter how hard he fought. As for the dancing spirit concubine, Night Sorrow wasn't too worried. As long as he entered the monarch realm, he could find a way to solve it. If the power of virtue couldn't get rid of the evil dragon poison flame, Then he could find the white tiger blood. When they arrived at the blood battle arena, Night Sorrow and Datura separated. He had a private room in the blood battle arena, but it was always Datura and Ji Dao who sat and watched. Ji Dao was now Night Sorrow's personal bodyguard. When Night Sorrow didn't need him, he would protect Datura. To him, protecting his wife was as important as protecting his young master. However, in the eyes of Night Sorrow and Datura, Ji Dao was a friend. They didn't treat him as a servant. Night Sorrow sat down in front of the cage. He looked around and nodded at Song Ning and Wu Feng, who were also sitting in the open. At the same time, Night Sorrow also noticed many important people. Yuan Ji, Gong Yufan, Yang Tianlai, and a middle-aged man in black full of killing intent were there. Night Sorrow knew who he was. He was the Dark Shadow Manor's Manor Lord, Luo Yuandao, because Luo Fei was sitting beside him. Gong Xianing also came, but she sat alone in a corner. She didn't sit with her father or Yuan Ji, because she didn't want to get involved in this kind of scheming. She didn't like it. Night Sorrow nodded slightly at Gong Xian's shadow. Today, Gong Xian's actions had changed Night Sorrow's impression of her. The truth was just as she had said. The sparring was to improve one's strength, nothing else. Fu Wu stepped forward and introduced Night Sorrow and Tai Lin. There were still some things to be said about Night Sorrow, but there was almost nothing to be said about Tai Lin. The odds had also changed. Both of them were now 1-1. This was also the highest odds that Night Sorrow had ever had. When Fu Wu was about to open the cage, Song Ning stood up and landed on the stage in front of the cage in a flash. I am Song Ning. Everyone knows that I am the commander of the Song Ning army. You may not know this, but I am the person in charge of the blood battle arena. Today I will announce some things. From today onwards, Arena Lord Night Sorrow will be a guest elder of the blood battle arena. If you want to challenge him, you can, but you must follow the rules. If anyone wants to break the rules, I will not be polite. Song Ning finished speaking and looked around. Luo Yuandao stood up and left with Luo Fei and the rest of the Dark Shadow Manor without saying a word. Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai looked at each other and didn't move. Yuan Ji couldn't help but tighten his grip on the chair. The armrest of the chair sank in and deep fingerprints appeared. All right, let the blood battle continue. Song Ning flashed back to his original seat. Drink some water. Wu Feng poured Song Ning a cup of water from the teapot on the table. No. Let's see who is blind today. Song Ning stabbed the sword in her hand into the ground. She usually didn't carry a weapon. Today, she revealed her weapon in front of everyone. Luo Yuandao and the rest got into the beast carriage and rushed back to the Dark Shadow Manor. Father, are we just going to let this go? Luo Fei said unwillingly. Others may not understand Song Ning, but I do. Anyone who dares to provoke her is a fool. If she interferes in this matter, the Dark Shadow Manor will accept it. If Yuan Ji wants to try, then let him try. Go back and collect treasures. Do your best to recover. Don't think about anything else. Luo Yuandao said to Luo Fei. I understand. Luo Fei nodded. Unspecified currency 6i, midline horizontal ellipsis Fei, if you want to survive in this cruel world, strength is one factor. The other factor is intelligence. You need to know who you can provoke and who you can't. Bully those you can provoke. That's fine. But those you can't provoke must be avoided. Song Ning is such a person. Do you understand? Luo Yuandao said to Luo Fei. Luo Fei nodded. He knew that his father Luo Yuandao was a smart person. What he said must be right. Don't look at your original body being destroyed. Among your many brothers and sisters, I still think the most highly of you. Don't mind their eyes. What's discrimination and disdain? I've experienced it. Just do your best to recover. Luo Yuandao patted Luo Fei's shoulder and said. It's just that Night Sorrow is more hateful. After hearing Luo Yuandao's words, Luo Fei sighed and said. That's the second thing I wanted to tell you. This time, Yuan Ji probably won't get any benefits. If Night Sorrow can escape Yuan Ji's secret attack, then you can only be on good terms with him. You can't offend him. Luo Yuandao said to Luo Fei. Then Night Sorrow can't be provoked? Luo Fei asked with some surprise. Yes. I saw him today and understood some things. There's no benefit in dealing with him. Luo Yuandao nodded. Father has never misjudged a person or made a wrong judgment. Fei will remember father's words. Luo Fei sighed and said, There's unwillingness in your heart, but you can endure it. This is the potential for great things. Go back and recover first, then look at the situation. If he can gain a foothold in the ethereal imperial city, we'll pay him a visit and befriend him. Show him the magnanimity and courage of our Shadow Manor's Luo family. Luo Yuandao said. After Luo Yuandao left, Song Ning smiled. There were some things that only she and Luo Yuandao knew. Luo Yuandao's departure was an attitude that he wouldn't be an enemy of Song Ning. However, compared to Song Ning, Yuan Ji was very angry. He cursed Luo Yuandao in his heart because Song Ning left after a few words. This made Song Ning's momentum soar. Luo Yuandao's departure also made Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan feel apprehensive. Night Sorrow and Tai Lin entered the cage. Neither of them spoke. Tai Lin's broadsword was pointed at the ground. Night Sorrow's space splitter spear was also in his hand. Night Sorrow could feel that Tai Lin was very strong. It was just a feeling. Although Tai Lin didn't release his aura, once he did, it would be like a landslide or a tsunami. Night Sorrow knew that Yuan Ji had asked Tai Lin to come. If the battle was ordinary, Yuan Ji wouldn't have let him fight. The Soul Seeker gong rang, but Tai Lin didn't move. He was different from Night Sorrow's opponents. He didn't directly charge. His eyes were fixed on Night Sorrow. He slowly raised his broadsword and his aura became stronger. Chapter 1602. Master. Gong Xianing bowed to Yuan Ji. I've taken a look. There's still a gap between you and him. You must improve through observation. Yuan Ji nodded to Gong Xianing and left. He couldn't ask Gong Xianing to do anything. How could he? Gong Xianing wouldn't enter the cage of a grudge battle. She didn't like to kill, and Yuan Ji couldn't force her. Gong Xianing was a little disappointed. She knew the man in black. He was an emperor who specialized in assassination. Yuan Ji must have asked him to assassinate Night Sorrow. She was disgusted by such a thing. It conflicted with her beliefs. After thinking for a while, Gong Xianing felt that ethereal imperial city wasn't suitable for her. She exhaled and made a decision. Gong Xianing took out a pen and paper and quickly wrote 2 letters. She placed one on the table and left the city lord's mansion. Yuan Ji treated her very well, but she wasn't used to these things. She couldn't accept it. Besides, she felt that she wasn't as good as Night Sorrow, but she had reached a bottleneck. Everyone's potential was like that. She didn't have much room for improvement. She could only seek a breakthrough. After leaving the city lord's mansion, Gong Xianing went to Night Sorrow's mansion and reported. After receiving the report, Night Sorrow brought Gong Xianing into the mansion. Knowing that there was a misunderstanding and that Gong Xianing didn't mean to set him up, Night Sorrow didn't continue to be hostile. Night Sorrow, I'm here to apologize. Although it wasn't my intention, my master appeared because of me and started to target you. Gong Xianing bowed to Night Sorrow. I already know. I don't blame you. However, I won't settle the matter with Guanyue Mansion. You know that they bullied me too much, Night Sorrowing said. I understand. I want to leave. I want to leave this ethereal imperial city that makes my heart restless, Gong Xian said. I understand. It's good to go out for a walk, but you have to be careful. This is a dog-eat-dog world. It's not easy to survive, Night Sorrow reminded as he looked at Gong Xian's silhouette. Thank you. Also, I would like to remind you to be careful when you go out. After saying this, Gong Xian cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow and Datura before turning around and leaving Night Sorrow's mansion. She didn't want to stay in the ethereal imperial city for a moment longer. She got someone to deliver a letter to the Guanyue Manor, and Gong Xian's shadow stepped onto the teleportation array. After watching Gong Xian's shadow leave, Night Sorrow and Datura drank tea. Glancing outside the mansion, Datura shook her head. Night Sorrow, Gong Xian's shadow also can't stand her master and father's actions. Yes, there's nothing we can do about it. What the eye doesn't see, the heart doesn't grieve over. However, she should know what's going on. Be careful when you go out. Looks like Yuan really did prepare something for me. Yishan said with a laugh. Yes, you have to be careful. Datura nodded. Although she was prepared, she was still worried. Blackthorn went into hiding near Night Sorrow's mansion. He had followed Yuan for many years and helped Yuan take care of many shady matters. Assassination was his specialty. His name, Blackthorn, explained everything. Blackthorn wasn't in a hurry. When an assassin carried out an assassination, he wanted to kill with one strike. He also wanted to confirm some things. He wanted to confirm if Night Sorrowing was in the mansion. Another reason why he didn't make a move was because he sensed the aura of an emperor in an inn some distance away from the mansion. Peng Wanli and Sparrow Dance, who were in the inn, knew when Blackthorn appeared. A rat is here. I don't know when he will make a move. If he makes a move, we will kill him. Be careful and don't let him escape, Peng Wanli said. Peng Wanli knew that he could easily kill Blackthorn, but he still made arrangements carefully. This was the habit of a soldier. Sure, he won't be able to escape. Sparrow Dance smiled. She knew that this was Peng Wanli. No matter how confident he was, he would always have a backup plan. Therefore, Song Ning would arrange for Peng Wanli to handle some of the more cautious missions. After Yuan arranged for a group of people to follow Blackthorn, he returned to the courtyard and saw the letter from Gong Xianing. After reading it, Yuan closed his eyes and thought for a while. Then he kept the letter. He knew that Gong Xianing didn't want to participate in this matter. However, Yuan felt that Gong Xianing cultivated some secret techniques and might have a chance. But now that he had left, there was no chance for him to persuade him. After receiving the letter from Gong Xianing, Gong Yufan nodded. It's good that he left. He is destined to not belong to this chaotic world. He will be safe if he leaves. He won't be used by others. When Yuan and Song Ning met, Gong Yufan was worried that Yuan would use Gong Xianing to fight. After knowing Yuan for so many years, he naturally knew what kind of person Yuan was. He would definitely do anything. Night Sorrow was practicing the movement technique that he had learned from Tai Lin. He needed to be able to move quickly, within a certain range. One step would cover a distance of dozens of feet. Normally, this movement technique was called Earth Shrinking. It was the ultimate move of Earth attribute cultivators. However, Space attribute cultivators were also good at speed. After practicing for 2 days, Night Sorrow was able to feel it. When his soul power erupted, he could move at high speed within a certain range. Blackthorn led a group of people and hid around Night Sorrow's residence, waiting for an opportunity. If there wasn't a suitable opportunity, he wouldn't make a move. Blackthorn was patient. Peng Wanli and Sparrow Dance were also patient. Only Night Sorrow could stir up this pool of water. 2 days later, Fu Wu arrived at Night Sorrow's residence. Brother Fu, you are here. Sit. Night Sorrow invited Fu Wu to sit while he took the teapot and brewed tea. Current S4 edition head Night Sorrow, someone wants to challenge you. His name is Fu Ji. His information is limited. He was sent by the other side. He has never participated in the blood battle arena before, so his strength and expertise are unknown, Fu Wu said. Don't worry. Since there is a challenge, then let's fight. There is nothing that I don't dare to accept, Night Sorrow said. After drinking a cup of tea, Fu Wu left. Blackthorn sensed Fu Wu's arrival and departure, and knew that his opportunity had come. Fu Wu was the host of the blood battle arena. Blackthorn knew that Fu Wu's arrival was to inform Night Sorrow of the upcoming battle. Night Sorrow would go to the blood battle arena. This was his chance to make a move. Blackthorn gathered the 9 people that Yuan had assigned to him, and told them the plan. He had already planned the location of the assassination. He didn't set the location at Night Sorrow's residence. Blackthorn knew that the residence was his base and could easily change. Blackthorn set the location at a street not far from Night Sorrow's residence. It was also in the Azure Dragon district. Ordinary patrol teams couldn't enter. The patrol teams in the Azure Dragon district were a bit further away. Everyone wait for my signal. The target must pass through that place. As long as I give the order, you will clear the area and cooperate with me to kill him as fast as possible. Our mission will be completed, Blackthorn said. Chapter 1603. Yuan-ji's initial plan was to capture Night Sorrow alive, then imprison him, and find a way to make Night Sorrow submit to him. But when he was mobilizing his men, Yuan-ji thought of the drawbacks. It was too difficult to capture him alive, and Song Ning would come knocking on his door to take him back. So he changed the order to capture him alive to kill him. After Blackthorn arranged everything, he hid in the dark and watched. If an assassin wanted to succeed, he had to have careful planning and patience. Blackthorn's men were sent out. Blackthorn's men moved, and Peng Wanli waved his hand to let his men move as well. Kei Wu also nodded to her subordinates standing outside the door. Since the other side had made a move, everyone had to move as well. After riding the beast carriage out, Night Sorrow released his soul force to investigate the situation. He could be assassinated at any time, so he had to be careful. Nothing happened on the way. Night Sorrow arrived at the blood battle stage. There were many onlookers there, including Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai and Luo Fei. When Night Sorrow looked over, he felt a little strange. Luo Fei's aura was very calm, without any killing intent or hostility. After looking at Night Sorrow, he nodded slightly. Although Luo Fei was a little unwilling, he was very clear that his father Luo Yuandao's judgment would not be wrong. He also had the foresight to analyze the situation. So in a situation where he was not strong enough, he had to listen to a wise man. In his heart, Luo Yuandao was not only his father, but also a strong and wise man. Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment, then he nodded to Song Ning and sat down. A few dozen feet away from him sat a white-robed old man. He was Night Sorrow's opponent, Fu Qi. Night Sorrow was at a disadvantage because the other side knew about him, but he knew nothing about Fu Qi. However, Night Sorrow was not afraid. When one's strength reached a certain level, all schemes and tricks would be useless. On the tea table between Song Ning and Wu Feng, there was a jar of wine. In another seat, Yuan-ji, who was dressed in a green robe, tapped the ground with his walking stick. Fu Wu walked up to the stage and introduced the two sides. Because Night Sorrow had won more than a dozen matches in a row, the odds had changed. It was now 3-1, slightly higher than the previous match. Even if the odds changed a lot, there was still a chance that Night Sorrow would win, because Night Sorrow had won the previous round very generously. After placing the bets, just as Fu Wu was about to announce the start of the battle, Night Sorrow stood up. Yuan-ji, you can't wait to kill me. The first one didn't work, so you found a second one. Are you confident this time? Do you dare to make a bet with me? Night Sorrow stared at Yuan-ji. Since Yuan-ji had sent people to kill him, he would challenge Yuan-ji and provoke him as much as he could. We'll see if you're still alive. Yuan-ji didn't take Night Sorrow's bait. If you can't afford to play, then don't blame me for not playing. I'm not someone you can challenge just because you want to. Maybe you won't be happy, but after this round, I won't accept any random challenges. If you can't afford to play, why should I play with you? Night Sorrow threw out a few words at Yuan-ji. If I don't play with you, it'll make me seem stingy. How do you want to play? Yuan-ji stood up. He didn't want to take Night Sorrow's bait, but if he didn't, what would he do if Night Sorrow didn't accept his next challenge? Elder Yuan, your family is big. It's boring to play small. How about 3 million Holy Spirit stones? Night Sorrow asked Yuan-ji. Bet. Why wouldn't I? Yuan-ji looked at Yi Shan, his eyes filled with coldness. Don't say I'm playing dirty. I have more than 3 million Holy Spirit stones in my storage ring, but so what? I don't need to gamble with you here. If I lose, the things here will be your spoils of war. Night Sorrow waved towards Datira's private room. Datira came out and tossed a storage ring to Night Sorrow. Manor Lord Song, can you be the notary for this bet? Night Sorrow looked at Song Ning. Sure. Song Ning stood up and nodded. Night Sorrow tossed the storage ring Datira had given him to Song Ning. Song Ning casually tossed the storage ring back to Datira. Night Sorrow, we're business partners. As long as you do business, even if it's gambling, I'll follow. I'll pay the 3 million Holy Spirit stones. You'll provide the manpower, and I'll provide the manpower. That's fine too. Night Sorrow smiled. Did Song Ning care about Holy Spirit stones? Obviously not. This was his attitude. Yuan-ji, hand over your 3 million. Song Ning looked at Yuan-ji. Yuan-ji flipped the storage ring around and tossed it to Song Ning. Song Ning took the storage ring and glanced at it. He nodded and sat down. Using his soul force, he could estimate the number of Holy Spirit stones according to the size of the pile. Fu Wu stepped forward and opened the cage. Night Sorrow and Fu Qi entered the cage. Do you know why I didn't say anything when I saw you tossing and turning? Because if I kill you, all problems will be solved. Fu Qi looked at Night Sorrow and said. Then don't say anything. Let's fight. Night Sorrow said. He didn't have any enmity with Fu Qi, but because of Yuan-ji's existence, the two had crossed paths. It wasn't good karma, but bad karma. One of them was destined to die. With the sound of the Soul Seeker gong, Fu Qi moved. The weapon in Fu Qi's hand was a long sword that was only as wide as a finger. On the long sword, a grayish-black energy appeared. With a wave of the long sword, the space between the two was cut open. The sword light directly cut towards Night Sorrow's head. Spatial cutting power. This was spatial energy that contained destructive energy. It formed an extremely powerful cutting power. Night Sorrow stepped sideways and dodged Fu Qi's spatial cutting. He waved his space splitter spear and used spatial twisting dragon kill on Fu Qi. Fu Qi stood motionless, the long sword in his hand constantly brandished, and a cutting force appeared, dancing within the cage. The cutting force didn't disperse, and under the control of Fu Qi's soul force, it constantly flew back and forth within the cage, slicing and dicing. This guy's absolute art is very overbearing. It should be the great spatial cutting technique. Edgeless eyes were filled with worry. If this continued, the cutting power in the cage would increase. Night Sorrow would become more and more passive. When the cutting power in the cage increased, Night Sorrow would find it difficult to dodge. Yes. He comprehended 20% of the destructive energy. He fused it with the power of space to form this killer move, Song Ning said. Night Sorrow shuttled through the cage. The space splitter spear was constantly waving, shattering the cutting power that was attacking him. You must die today, Fu Qi roared. His cutting power had already formed a net. Night Sorrow's space to move was getting smaller and smaller. It was only a matter of time before he was hit by his absolute art. However, Night Sorrow felt that it was about time. He had already seen Fu Qi's absolute art. He could go back and slowly study it. Yi Shan wanted to end the battle. He took a step forward and used the Great Death Annihilation Slash. When the Great Death Annihilation Slash was finished, the death energy exploded. Yi Shan's energy exploded a second time, as he used the destructive True Dragon incantation. And NB says here's the first update. Chapter 1604. Two beams of black light passed through the cutting power inside the cage, and landed on Fu Qi's body. The first beam of black light landed on Fu Qi's body. A blue soul power defensive halo appeared on Fu Qi's head. It was a soul defense secret art. It blocked the effect of Night Sorrow's first attack. When Fu Qi was about to swing his sword, the effect of Night Sorrow's True Dragon Destruction incantation arrived. The black light covered Fu Qi's head, which had been weakened by the Great Death Destruction cut. Fu Qi's body stopped moving. His face was filled with pain. It was the destructive power attacking his soul. Break. With a low roar, Night Sorrow's space splitter spear sliced through the air and poured into Fu Qi's forehead. It pierced through his spirit sea and shattered it. The battle was over. Although Fu Qi's space cutting technique was very powerful, it was defeated by Night Sorrow's two attacks. Putting away Fu Qi's weapon and storage ring, Night Sorrow walked out of the cage. Victory. Night Sorrow walked out of the cage once again. The suppression of the cage was very strong, but Night Sorrow had already gotten used to it. This time, Night Sorrow's victory won a round of applause. Because of his imposing manner, he was no longer like a roly-poly when he first entered the cage. In these two battles, Night Sorrow had fought very aggressively. Fu Wu announced the result. Actually, he didn't need to announce it. The fact that two people entered the cage and only one came out was enough to explain the problem. The fatty's voice was the loudest. He had won the most. He had bet 1 million, and after deducting the commission, he still won 300,000. Looking at Yuan-ji, Night Sorrow smiled. He had slapped Yuan-ji's face with this battle. Elder Yuan, you lost 3 million. You have nothing to say, right? Songming looked at Yuan-ji. It doesn't matter. It's only 3 million. Yuan-ji's eyes were fixed on Night Sorrow. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Rich and overbearing. This is good. Next time, bring more Saint Spirit stones. We can add more. Night Sorrow waved his arm, and the space splitter spear returned to the holster on his back. I think you need to think about how to survive. Yuan-ji knocked on the ground with his cane, and turned to leave the blood battle arena. He knew that after Night Sorrow showed up, Blackthorn would seize the opportunity. When Night Sorrow returned, it would be the road of death. After Yuan-ji left, Songming tossed Yuan-ji's storage ring filled with Holy Spirit stones to Yishang. Well done. I like you, roly-poly. Songming 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 Song. While Yishang was talking to Songming and Wu Feng, Fu Wu delivered the 1 million. Yishang checked the 2 storage rings and was stunned. That's not appropriate. Night Sorrow shook his head. He organized the storage ring and took out 500,000 from the one Fu Wu gave him. Then he gave it to Songming. You're too serious. Okay, I'll take it. However, the other party's challenge is not over. You have to decide if you want to accept or not. You can choose not to accept their challenge now, Songming said. Night Sorrow nodded. He would not reject a challenge. Since Yuan-ji bullied him, he naturally had to fight back. Even if Yuan-ji was the Grand Elder of the Ethereal Dynasty, Songming did not say anything. She knew that this was Night Sorrow. He would not back down at all. After having a drink with Songming and Wufeng, Night Sorrow took Datura and Ji Dao to the mansion in the beast carriage. Night Sorrow's mind was filled with the scene of Fu Qi using the space slicer technique. The space slicer technique was indeed powerful. He could use it as a reference. He had all the requirements to cultivate the space slicer technique. He had the space bloodline talent and the power of destruction in his body. As long as he had the cultivation method, he could cultivate it. Although he did not cultivate the secret technique, he could clearly see how Fu Qi used it. Looking at Night Sorrow in deep thought, Datura was very alert. They were in danger at every step. It was hard to say what Yuan-ji had up his sleeves. When they entered the Azure Dragon district and were 1 street away from the mansion, Datura suddenly became alert. Night Sorrow also raised his head. Because of the murderous aura, people were rushing at them from all directions. If you can't do it, leave now. Night Sorrow shouted at Datura. He rushed out of the beast carriage and stood in the air. Ji Dao, you leave too. Night Sorrow turned around and looked at Ji Dao. He rushed towards the strongest person among the besiegers. The strongest person among the assassins was Blackthorn. Night Sorrow made his move. Datura's body flashed. He waved his hollow blade and started attacking the Heaven Monarchs. Ji Dao also started waving the battle blade in his hand. He did not let the besiegers get close to him. He did not feel much pressure because Blackthorn and the 9 Heaven Monarchs he brought were all targeting Night Sorrow. They were all attacking Night Sorrow. At this moment, Peng Wanli and Keiwu arrived with their men. They immediately surrounded Blackthorn and his men. Peng Wanli waved his longsword and was about to attack. What's the rush? It's not very stable right now. Let's take a look. Keiwu pulled Peng Wanli back. At this time, Night Sorrow and Blackthorn were still fighting. Due to his swift movement, Night Sorrow was not in danger. This was also the reason why Keiwu was not in a hurry. She wanted to see the strength of the person that Songming thought highly of. That's fine too. You guys listen up. Other than that guy, kill the rest on the spot. Peng Wanli held his long sword in his hand as he watched the battle between Night Sorrow and Blackthorn. As for the other Heaven Monarch realm assassins, there was no need for him to pay attention to them. He would just kill them directly. Hearing Peng Wanli's orders, the Shadow Knights of the Flying Rock Army and the elites of the Dancing Sparrow Army surrounded and killed the assassins brought by Blackthorn. Datura and Ji Dao were free. Datura, who was free, watched the battle between Night Sorrow and Blackthorn. PR is more J. New $most /Soonest /KWG. Blackthorn's strength was much stronger than the magic dragon general. However, Knight Sorrow was no longer the same as before. His battle intent was very mature. Blackthorn's suppression of heaven and earth lost its effect when it reached Knight Sorrow's body. The two of them were fighting head-on. Blackthorn's true chi was strong, but Knight Sorrow channeled the energy of the virtuous indestructible golden body into his arms. After adding it to his weapons, he was not at a disadvantage even if he fought head-on. Knight Sorrow and Blackthorn fought back and forth in the air. Every time their weapons clashed, the two of them would be separated. Knight Sorrow was repelled by Blackthorn's true chi, while Blackthorn was repelled by the energy in Knight Sorrow's body. Knight Sorrow cultivated the 10,000 Dao Tome. The space-time energy circulated in his flesh and bones. As his space-time attribute cultivation increased, Knight Sorrow's body was also infinitely close to the Heaven Monarch realm. With such strength and true chi, Blackthorn could not gain the upper hand every time their weapons clashed. Chapter 1605. Blackthorn's men weren't weak, but they were good at assassination. They weren't good at fighting head-on. Therefore, they were all killed by Peng Wanli and Sparrow Dance's men. "Brother, keep it up. You can do it," Peng Wanli shouted when he saw that Knight Sorrow and Blackthorn were evenly matched. Knight Sorrow and Blackthorn fought. Every time they clashed, he would be pushed back by Blackthorn's vital energy. However, he wasn't injured or affected and would continue to fight. Knight Sorrow didn't say anything, but he knew that Song Ning's men were beasts. They were supposed to help him solve the problem, but now, they were just here to watch the show. Fortunately, Blackthorn was fast, but his attacks weren't very strong. Knight Sorrow could still hold on. However, Knight Sorrow didn't use any ultimate techniques. It wasn't easy to kill an Imperial Realm cultivator. He didn't know if there were people watching in the dark. There was no point in revealing his trump card. He might as well stay undefeated and see what Song Ning's two bastards would do. "What are you shouting for?" If you didn't shout, he might still be able to fight. Now he isn't even using his ultimate techniques. He hasn't even used the ones recorded in the information, Sparrow Dance said. "That's true. There's no point in watching anymore. Let me crush this little rat." Peng Wanli's body flashed and appeared between Knight Sorrow and Blackthorn. Then he waved his long sword and charged towards Blackthorn. Sparrow Dance also approached the battle. Assassins were usually good at escaping. She naturally had to keep an eye on Blackthorn. Knight Sorrow glanced at Peng Wanli and Sparrow Dance before flashing to Datira's side and watching the battle. Peng Wanli was very strong. Blackthorn wasn't his opponent at all. Every time their weapons clashed, he would be pushed back. Peng Wanli was also very fast. He circled Blackthorn and attacked. Blackthorn didn't even have a chance to escape. Peng Wanli's main attribute was space, and his lightning energy was supplementary. The battle area was already controlled by Peng Wanli's lightning space. That was an Imperial Realm domain. Blackthorn's Imperial Realm domain was suppressed to the point that only a black ball of light around him was left. There was no suspense. After being suppressed and controlled, Blackthorn was destined to be defeated. Following Peng Wanli's ultimate move, the Space Thunder Dragon, Blackthorn's body was sliced in half. However, Blackthorn's corpse, which had been cut in half, immediately exploded. He was afraid that someone would use his corpse to attack his true body. "Little brat, you owe us a drink. Let's call it a day." After glancing at Knight Sorrow, Peng Wanli and Kei Wu left with their men. They disappeared as quickly as they appeared. Knight Sorrow and Datira entered the beast carriage, and Ji Dao drove the carriage back to the mansion. "I owed Song Ning too much." Knight Sorrow shook his head as he got off the beast carriage and sat down in the main hall of the mansion. Although Peng Wanli and Sparrow Dance didn't say anything, Knight Sorrow was able to determine their origins. In the ethereal Imperial City, the only person who could help him and was willing to help him was Song Ning. Boss Song's arrangements are very strict. It also means that Yuan Ji is a despicable person. There is no method that he can't use. Datira said. Ji Dao's abilities are limited. I can't share young master's burden. Ji Dao bowed and said, "Ji Dao, you think too much. Since he dared to kill us, it means that he has the ability to deal with us. You are already very good. Knight Sorrow smiled. He was very satisfied with Ji Dao. After this battle, Yuan Ji should know that he won't use this method easily. He will have new methods. We still have to be careful. Datura said. Knight Sorrow nodded. In the current situation, all he could do was to be careful. Yuan Ji was an old fox who had lived for countless years. He was also an elder of the City Lord Mansion. It was impossible to predict what kind of abilities and methods he would have. Peng Wanli was resting in an inn not far from Knight Sorrow's mansion. He had sent out the spies again. He didn't know how many waves of attacks the enemy would launch, so he was very careful. Whatever Song Ning asked him to do, he had to do it well. Besides, Knight Sorrow was now related to Song Ning's reputation, and the Song Ning army's reputation. Kei Wu went to the blood battle arena, and found Song Ning to report what had just happened. Yuan Ji has a lot of dogs. You have to be careful. Today, Knight Sorrow cheated 3 million Saint Spirit stones from that old fox, and killed one of his elite subordinates. He is already angry. Song Ning said. Prefecture Lord, that fellow is indeed formidable. When we arrived, that monarch realm assassin led a few heaven monarchs to attack him, but he was actually able to withstand it. Kei Wu was still very impressed by Yi Shang's combat strength. Hehe. Yuan Ji didn't hesitate to ask the Battle Emperor for an imperial edict for him. How can he be simple? Song Ning said with a smile. She was very clear about Knight Sorrow's strength and knew some things that others didn't. Actually, even if we didn't do anything today, the danger wouldn't be that great. His wife is also very powerful. Although that subordinate is an 8-star king, his blade art is very sharp. In addition, this guy is very slippery. When he saw us, he didn't attack the Imperial Realm assassin and waited for us to take care of him. Kei Wu said her analysis. His combat prowess is one of his strengths, and he has a high IQ. If he wasn't smart enough, he would have been eaten alive long ago. The fact that Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai couldn't take him down is proof of that, Song Ning said. Kei Wu left. She still had to protect Knight Sorrow from assassinations, and she had to do it with all her heart. Song Ning wasn't surprised that Knight Sorrow had survived Yuan Ji's attack. Instead, she felt that it was a good thing. Yuan Ji had a lot of experts under his command. There were some in the ethereal imperial city, and some in the Yuan clan. However, no matter how many experts he had, he couldn't afford to lose Emperor Realm cultivators. After thinking for a while, Song Ning went to the lower floor of the pavilion. There was a teleportation array there. Entering the teleportation array, Song Ning appeared in Knight Sorrow's mansion. As soon as Song Ning appeared, Knight Sorrow knew. After leaving the mansion's hall, Knight Sorrow invited Song Ning into the hall, and made a pot of tea. Not bad, you survived. After sitting down, Song Ning nodded to Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow smiled and asked Song Ning to convey his gratitude to Peng Wanli and Kei Wu. They were also bored out of their minds and couldn't wait to do something. Today, Yuan Ji's face and strength both suffered a blow. I'm guessing that he'll be furious and use some tricks. Song Ning reminded Knight Sorrow. If he sends someone to challenge me, I'll accept. If he dares to go to the blood battle stage, I'll make a bet with him. This time, I'll bet 3 million. Next time, I'll bet 5 million. In the future, he won't even dare to go to the blood battle stage. Knight Sorrow drank a mouthful of water and said. Song Ning, who was about to drink from the teacup, paused and looked at Knight Sorrow with some surprise. You're quite ruthless. Although Yuan Ji's family is big, he can't bear such a trap. Moreover, it's a trap that he has no choice but to accept. Perhaps, after being tricked by you once, he won't dare to go to the blood battle stage anymore. An open trap. Yuan Ji had no choice but to accept such a trap. If he didn't accept it, he would lose all face. Also, if you're tired, just let me know. I'll go find the Battle Emperor. Song Ning said. Chapter 1606. Boss Song, didn't you say that the Battle Emperor does not care about these things? Then, I should not bother the Battle Emperor for my business, or else the Battle Emperor might look down on me. Knight Sorrow shook his head. He did not want Song Ning to lose face because of him. There are two sides to the story. Yuan Ji had asked the Battle Emperor for an edict, which means that he had told the Battle Emperor about your situation and importance. If I told the Battle Emperor that you were already a part of the mayor's mansion, and that Yuan Ji had tried to assassinate you without following the rules, what do you think the Battle Emperor would think? Song Ning said with a smile. Not to mention punishment. She would definitely be unhappy. Plus, she would definitely stop Yuan Ji from using some dirty tricks. Datura said. Yes, Yuan Ji had gone against her wishes. Song Ning nodded. Going to the Battle Emperor is the last resort. Let's play with this old bastard for a while. Knight Sorrow did not want to end the battle yet. If he did not fight back after being bullied, he would feel very aggrieved. How many Saint Spirit Stones do you have? When we fight again, you should play a big game with him and make his Yuan family suffer a huge loss. Song Ning knocked on the table and said, I have Saint Spirit Stones, but if I play too big, I am worried that he might find an excuse to not accept. 5 million should be enough. Knight Sorrow said. F3J. If he does not want to play, then we will force him to play. If we can win a huge amount of money each time, then you can bet 5 million, and I will trick him as well. If he does not, then he is a bastard. Song Ning said. I told you last time. Old man Song, you are too evil. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. I told you last time as well. I am not as evil as you. Song Ning smiled as well. Actually, everyone knew that no matter how they planned, they had to have the battling power first. If they did not have the battling power, what was the point of planning? What was the point of betting? Wasn't it just giving away Saint Spirit Stones? Blackthorn's real body had arrived at Yuan Ji's yard inside the mayor's mansion. Headmaster, I have failed. It was the 2 commanders of the Tsongning army who intervened. I was not their match and was killed in the end. Left with no other choice, I had to self-destruct my soul and body. Blackthorn bowed and said, Yes, go down and recuperate. Yuan Ji waved his hand. He couldn't blame Blackthorn for this situation. He was well aware of the strength of the Tsongning army's generals. He just didn't expect Song Ning to value Knight Sorrow so much. Losing 3 million Saint Spirit Stones and the clone of an emperor-level subordinate in a single day infuriated Yuan Ji. After thinking for a while, Yuan Ji left the city lord's mansion and went to Guanyue Mansion. As soon as Yuan Ji entered the Guanyue Mansion, Gong Yufan appeared and invited Yuan Ji into one of the courtyards. Xianing left because he didn't want to see the current situation. Yuan Ji started the conversation. I already know that. Gong Yufan nodded. Although Yuan Ji was strong, he didn't need to care about his feelings. That's the first thing I'm here for. Let's talk about the second thing. I want to deal with that Knight Sorrow. What did Palace Lord Gong say? Yuan Ji was here to find an ally. Great Elder, you should know that the Guanyue Mansion is nothing compared to the Tsongning Mansion. If we offend her, we won't have a good time, Gong Yufan said. He really didn't want to offend Song Ning. I need someone. I need an invincible heavenly monarch. If it's not convenient for you to fight with her, you can give him to me and fight under the name of a cultivator under me. Besides, there aren't many opportunities. If that bitch Song Ning goes to the War Emperor, we won't have the chance to continue fighting, Yuan Ji said. He naturally understood what Song Ning was thinking. Gong Yufan didn't say anything. He knew that he had to choose a side. If he rejected Yuan Ji, he would offend Yuan Ji. Palace Lord Gong, do you think you can get a good impression from Song Ning? If Knight Sorrow is alive, Song Ning will definitely think highly of him. Do you think he'll let the Guanyue Mansion go? Yuan Ji looked at Gong Yufan and sneered. His words hit Gong Yufan's soft spot. Then how can I help you, Great Elder? There are no invincible heavenly monarchs in the Guanyue Mansion now, Gong Yufan said. It doesn't matter if you don't have anyone. Palace Lord Gong is on good terms with the Celestial Sect. Let's not talk about the Emperor-grade puppets. Can you ask for 2 heavenly monarch-grade puppets? Yuan Ji asked. Gong Yufan slapped his forehead. I miscalculated. I didn't think of this problem. If I had asked the heavenly monarchs under me, things wouldn't have turned out this way. Gong Yufan was on good terms with an elder of the Celestial Sect. He couldn't ask for an emperor-grade puppet, but a heavenly monarch-grade puppet wasn't a problem. Alright, help me with this. Also, if there are any powerful heavenly monarchs, you can recommend them to me. This time, I'll definitely kill him. Song Ning, that bitch, thinks that she's out of control. This time, I'll give her a hard slap in the face. Yuan Ji's face was full of malevolence. In the ethereal imperial city, no matter what the ethereal war emperor did, Yuan Ji was the one who made the decisions. Song Ning was the only one who didn't give him face. Alright, but if Song Ning wants to cause trouble for the observant moon mansion, then the Great Elder will have to step in and settle it. Gong Yufan didn't want to provoke Song Ning either. Yuan Ji nodded and left the observant moon mansion. He got up and went to the celestial sun mansion. He wanted to accumulate some resources to fight against Song Ning. Gong Yufan left the observant moon mansion and went to the celestial sect to ask for more puppets. Not long after Gong Yufan left, a black figure left the observant moon mansion and flew towards the Azure Dragon district of the ethereal imperial city. When it arrived at Night Sorrow's mansion, the black figure stopped and called for a servant to report. This black figure was none other than the ghost monkey. During this period, the ghost monkey had been living a life worse than death. Every day, he had to endure the pain of tens of thousands of ants gnawing at his bones. He couldn't hold on any longer. If this continued, his Dao heart would collapse. Thus, when he found out that Gong Yufan had left, the ghost monkey left the observant moon mansion and came to find Night Sorrow to solve the problem. When he heard the servant's report, Night Sorrow was stunned. I forgot about this guy. He probably can't hold on any longer. Yes, that evil spirit doesn't have the ability to devour a heavenly monarch's corpse. However, it gnaws day and night. The ghost monkey is a heavenly monarch. He can't take it. Datura nodded. How should we deal with him? Night Sorrow looked at Datura and asked. He's not a good person. Raise him like a good dog. If he's obedient, he can live. If he's disobedient, continue to torture him. Datura's suggestion was simple. After looking at Datura, Night Sorrow smiled and asked Ji Dao to bring the ghost monkey in. Under Ji Dao's lead, the ghost monkey entered the main hall of the mansion. At this moment, he was in a very bad state. His face was pale, and his attitude was humble. He couldn't even stand up straight. Ghost monkey, don't you know that this is my territory? Now that you're here, taking your life is as easy as flipping my hand, said Yishan. Chapter 1607. Datura snorted coldly. You know very well that your life is not in your hands. Is this the attitude of someone who is begging for others to arrange things for you? If my lord is willing to accept, Ghost Monkey is willing to become my lord's personal attendant. I will do whatever my lord wants me to do. Ghost Monkey exhaled and knelt on one knee. He did not want to be tortured for even a moment longer. Swear. From now on, you will obey his orders. If you resist, you will be punished by the heavens and die without a complete corpse. Datura stood up and said. Ghost Monkey nodded and raised his hand. He swore that he would follow Night Sorrow from now on and obey Night Sorrow's orders. He would never betray him. Get up. Aluo, you helped him deal with it. Actually, he will be the same if he follows you. Night Sorrow said. Forget it. Datura said as he took out a crystal ball. It should be called a special crystal container. Inside it were the evil spirit and Ghost Monkey's corpses. Datura extracted the evil spirit and placed it in another crystal ball. He then threw Ghost Monkey's corpse to him. Thank you, my lord. Thank you, my lady. Ghost Monkey kept his corpse and bowed to Night Sorrow and Datura again. How is your situation in Serene Moon Manor? Night Sorrow asked. Not very good. That Gongxian Moon is not easy to serve. Because the treatment of the spirit stones given to me is not bad. I did not leave. Ghost Monkey said. Then you go back first. Let me know if anything happens. When it's about time, come to me. Take this elixir and recover your soul spirit. Night Sorrow said to Ghost Monkey. Thank you, my lord. I understand. Ghost Monkey bowed and left. The problem was solved. He felt gratified and disappointed. He could live, but he had lost his freedom. It's not bad for this guy to follow you. You need evil people by your side. Datira smiled. We still need such a personal attendant. He is considered a rare expert below the Varch realm. His speed is also a nightmare for some heaven monarchs. Knight Sorrow was certain of Ghost Monkey's strength. With the heavenly oath, he can only wholeheartedly work for you. Datira nodded. Yuan Ji walked around Yang Tianlia's mansion and received Yang Tianlia's support. However, Yang Tianlia's intentions were clear. He could help deal with Knight Sorrow, but he wouldn't go against Song Ning. He didn't want to provoke Song Ning. Yuan Ji was a little angry. From Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan's attitude, he knew that Song Ning's influence was greater than his. Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan were both afraid of Song Ning. As for the Dark Shadow Palace, Yuan Ji didn't go there. Luo Yuandao's direct departure from the blood battle platform that day was enough to explain the problem. Luo Yuandao would rather offend him than provoke Song Ning. Yuan Ji also knew that Luo Yuandao wasn't someone to be trifled with and wouldn't give him face. Ghost Monkey returned to his residence and took out the elixir that Knight Sorrow had given him. He was shocked after taking a look. He knew about the Restoration Spirit elixir. He had gone to the Celestial Master Pavilion to take a look, but he couldn't afford it. Now that Knight Sorrow had given him the elixir, it was giving him a chance. After eating the elixir, Ghost Monkey started to recover. One of his clones had been killed, which was a great loss. However, after recovering, his combat strength wouldn't be affected. The next few days were very quiet. No one challenged Knight Sorrow, and Knight Sorrow didn't challenge anyone either. Currently, his main opponent and enemy was Yuan Ji. It wasn't worth it to attack the Observant Moon Palace and the Sky Sun Palace and intensify the conflict. On this day, Knight Sorrow was cultivating his spear arts. Datira happily came to Knight Sorrow's side. Her aura had changed. She was now at the half-step Martial Emperor realm. Aluo, you've broken through. Knight Sorrow looked at Datira happily. Yes, the death domain has been formed. Cultivate slowly. When it matures, it will be the Martial Emperor realm. Datira nodded at Knight Sorrow. That's great. It's worth celebrating. Knight Sorrow pulled Datira's hand and sat down. He took out some wine and poured 2 bowls. You'll be there soon, right? Datira looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. It could happen at any time. Knight Sorrow smiled. His original body was combining the battle intent and the void intent. Once the void world was completed, it would be the void domain. During the celebration, Knight Sorrow called Hong Yi, Laning and Ji Dao. They were all on the same side. Knowing that Datira had improved again, Hong Yi and Laning were very happy. They had known each other for a long time and had feelings for each other. After the celebration, Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and took a few jars of wine to the inn where Peng Wanli and Kei Wu were resting. Peng Wanli and Kei Wu weren't surprised to see Knight Sorrow. They couldn't hide their presence here. Thank you for helping me out last time. Knight Sorrow placed the wine on the table in front of Peng Wanli and Kei Wu. You're welcome. The assassination last time wasn't too dangerous for you. You could have escaped. Peng Wanli smiled. I'm confident that I could have escaped, but my wife and the guard might have been in danger. Anyway, thank you. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands at Peng Wanli. Sit down and have a drink with us. You are a guest elder of the Blood Battle Platform. The Blood Battle Platform is a force under the Prefecture Lord. So is our Songning Legion. Everyone is on the same side. Kei Wu pulled out a chair for Knight Sorrow and invited Knight Sorrow to sit. Knight Sorrow's cultivation wasn't as good as Peng Wanli and Kei Wu, but the two respected Knight Sorrow very much. They had their own evaluation of him. Those with high cultivation and low combat strength were considered trash. So what if they were in the Emperor realm? Take Blackthorn for example. He was in the Emperor realm, but he couldn't defeat Knight Sorrow. If Knight Sorrow entered the Emperor realm, he could easily crush someone like Blackthorn. This was potential and also ability. Wanli, now that there's a chance to earn Saint Spirit Stones, shall we go and earn some? Kei Wu looked at Peng Wanli and asked. Kei Wu, let's go to the Blood Battle Platform to earn Saint Spirit Stones. It's fine if it's a small amount, but if we want to earn big and plunder the Blood Battle Platform, the Prefecture Lord will throw us out. Peng Wanli shook his head. That's true. It's not a bad idea to have some fun. We can also support Night Sorrow. Keiwoo smiled and said. And, Yongkyugyo? Free of charge unspecified currency watch 5U small VW? Night Sorrow, when will there be another battle? Peng Wanli looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I don't know. The other party wants to kill me and won't allow me to live freely. It's probably in the preparation stage. Night Sorrow said. Although it was quiet for the time being, Night Sorrow knew that Yuanji's backup plan would come soon. After chatting with Peng Wanli and Keiwoo for a while, Night Sorrow returned to the mansion. It was already evening. When Night Sorrow and Datira were eating, Ghost Monkey came. What's the matter? Night Sorrow looked at Ghost Monkey and asked. Yes, Gong Yufan went out for a few days. When he came back, he brought someone with him. I don't know him. After that, Yuanji appeared in Guanyue Mansion. Gong Yufan gave him a storage ring, and that person was taken away by Yuanji. Ghost Monkey reported. Chapter 1608. It seems like they've been preparing for the past few days. The people they found should be quite powerful. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and knew the problem. That should be the case. Then, what else does young master need this subordinate to do? Ghost Monkey asked with a very respectful attitude. Go back first. Stay in Guanyue Mansion if you can. If you can't, come to my place. Since you've made a heavenly oath to follow me, I'll treat you well. Night Sorrow looked at Ghost Monkey and said. This subordinate understands. Many thanks to young master's elixir. This subordinate has almost recovered. Ghost Monkey cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow and Datira. Okay, you can go. Night Sorrow waved his hand. As for Ghost Monkey's arrangement, Night Sorrow felt that it was more appropriate to leave him in Guanyue Mansion, as he could obtain more information. Night Sorrow recognized Ghost Monkey's strength as a heaven monarch. There were only 2 or 3 heaven monarchs in the primal chaos realm that could compare to him. As for the fact that his avatar was destroyed and his soul was incomplete, the chances of him entering the Emperor realm was small. This was not important. Because even if his soul was complete, how many people could enter the Emperor realm? In the vast celestial realm, there were less than 1 in a billion Emperor realm cultivators. This guy is quite sensible. He's not as annoying as before. Datira said with a smile. He's also a talent. Otherwise, Guanyue Mansion wouldn't have sent him to fight with me. It's his bad luck to meet us. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that his appearance had changed the fate of some people. Of course, there were good and bad. After chatting with Datira for a while, Night Sorrow entered the 8-Dragon Cauldron to refine some elixirs and forge some mainstream swords and sabers. The Celestial Master Pavilion's business was good, so he had to prepare some supplies. After refining for a night, eating breakfast, and cultivating his spear arts, Night Sorrow brought Datira and the others to the Celestial Master Pavilion, and handed over the newly refined elixirs and weapons to Heaven Monarch Lin Mu. While Night Sorrow was chatting with Heaven Monarch Lin Mu, Fatty Shin came. Night Sorrow, I haven't seen you in days. Come to my place for a drink. Haha, you seem to be in a good mood. Is this the time to blow your beard and glare at me? Night Sorrow looked at Fatty Sheng. Of course not. During that period of time, I really lost a lot. However, as time passed, I kept my eyes open. Now, I have already broken even and made a small profit. Fatty Shen said with a smile. Under Fatty Shen's invitation, Night Sorrow and the others went to Fatty Shen's restaurant. Fatty Shen had arranged for a table of the best dishes. To be honest, I'm very grateful to you. It's not easy to get out of this pit. Also, don't fight if you can. You don't lack resources, and you have a family business. There's really no need to fight to the death. There are some people we can't afford to offend, so it's fine to hide. Fatty Shen looked at Night Sorrow and said. He knew about the conflict between Night Sorrow and Yuanji. He wanted to persuade Night Sorrow to take a step back. X looked at him. Our edition Yef Chapter 2. I'll thank you for the reminder. Night Sorrow will remember it. I'm very sorry about the shop. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that Fatty Shen was speaking from the bottom of his heart. No, you don't need to apologize. You bought it at a fair price. Because of these Saint Spirit stones, I was able to make a comeback and earn back what I lost. If you want to open a pawn shop, you can just find a place to do it. Fatty Shun shook his head. After chatting with Fatty Shun for a while, Knight Sorrow returned to the backyard of the Celestial Master Pavilion. He entered the 8-dragon cauldron and sped up time. He finished the 2 custom-made orders for Lin Mu. Master Knight, your refining speed is really fast, Lin Mu said after arranging the things. Lin Mu, you know that I've offended a lot of people. You guys are fine here, but the people around me might be threatened, so Hongyi can't stay here. You can have Lu Yun send the custom-made orders to the mansion. When you're free, you can come to the mansion to drink tea with me, Knight Sorrow said to Lin Mu. You're right. We're people who make a living in ethereal Imperial City. The other party won't make things difficult for us because of your hatred. If it's like this, then it'll really be a mess, Lin Mu said with a smile. Knight Sorrow nodded, and then returned to the mansion with Datura and the others. Young master, the other party won't touch Lin Mu, so they won't touch us or Lan Ning. I'll help you take care of the shop later, Hongyi said after making a pot of tea. It's not the same. You guys are my family and friends. If they capture you guys to threaten me, then I have to accept it. If they touch the people who take care of my business, then I won't be polite and will take revenge. Therefore, the other party won't do such a thing, Knight Sorrow said. If it was a business attack, then Yuanji's business was much more than Knight Sorrow's. Therefore, Yuanji definitely wouldn't make such a move. Hongyi nodded and didn't say anything else. In the evening, Fu Wu came to inform Knight Sorrow that a heaven monarch under Yuanji had challenged Knight Sorrow to a battle. It was a heaven monarch called Zhu Long. The blood battle platform didn't have any information. Only those who had participated in the blood battle platform's battles would be collected by the blood battle platform. I accept. When is the time? Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and nodded. You set the time. Now you have the final say, Fu Wu said. Knight Sorrow then told him the time. The time was set for tomorrow evening. Since the other party made a move, then he would accept it. After getting Knight Sorrow's decision, Fu Wu went back to make the arrangements. Knight Sorrow, the other party knows that you are strong, but they still want to challenge you. This means that they are confident. This time they have prepared for a long time. You have to be careful. Datura was a little worried. Don't worry about me. My battle strength has improved a lot recently. I can even fight Thearchs, let alone heaven monarchs. Knight Sorrow smiled at Datura. In the city lord residence, Song Ning sat in the courtyard and pondered. She had already received Fu Wu's report and knew that Knight Sorrow was going to fight. She was also worried about Yuanji's hidden moves. The unknown was the scariest because there was no way to prevent it. On the other hand, the other party was prepared. It was like fighting a blind man with his eyes open. Song Ning had seen Zhu Long before. She couldn't detect anything. This meant that he had a secret technique that could isolate him from detection. This also meant that he was strong. Song Ning felt that this situation should be stopped because she felt that it was dangerous. But if she wanted to stop it, she would have to find the Battle Emperor. But she didn't want to. She was a little hesitant, so she paced back and forth in the courtyard. Just as Song Ning was pacing back and forth, a figure appeared in the courtyard and gradually solidified. Lord, why are you here? Song Ning was a little surprised to see this somewhat absent-minded figure. Just now, I casually scanned with my soul power and found that you were uneasy. This shouldn't be the case, so I came to see what's wrong. Why are you so anxious? The figure asked. He was the ruler of this territory, the Ethereal Battle Emperor. Chapter 1609. Then tell me about it. You haven't been to my place for a while. After the figure sat down, the energy around her dissipated. She was a tall and slender woman wearing a long golden robe that trailed the ground. Look at section number 0 of the chapter of the correct version. Her lips were red, her face was delicate, and her eyes were watery. Her hair was coiled on top of her head, and a jade hairpin hung down to her forehead. I'm worried about someone's safety. I don't know if I should let him continue fighting or ask you to stop him. Song Ning said. Sit down and tell me the details. Do you still care about someone's life? Ethereal Battle Emperor glanced at Song Ning. My lord, his name is Night Sorrow, a deluxe merit supreme saint. He encountered some things after coming to Ethereal Imperial City. He's been fighting against them. This time he might be in danger, Song Ning said. Yishan. Some time ago, Elder Yuan came to me to ask for instructions. He said that he planned to invite this person to join the City Lord's mansion. He told Guanyue Mansion, Sky Sun Valley, and Shadow Mansion to not seek revenge on Night Sorrow. I agreed. Why isn't it over yet? Ethereal Battle Emperor frowned. It's not over yet. That day, after Night Sorrow fought his opponent in the blood battle arena, Grand Elder asked him to join the City Lord Mansion. If he didn't, he would be killed. But that's not right. If he doesn't cultivate his virtue, he won't be able to become a deluxe merit supreme saint. If he were to be humiliated and forced to join the City Lord Mansion, he wouldn't be able to face his strong heart. That's impossible. Coincidentally, he was friends with me, so he joined the blood battle arena. This situation made Grand Elder want to kill him. He's already sent a few heavenly lords to the blood battle arena, Song Ning said. Elder Yuan told me that he's a deluxe merit body cultivator, so I didn't pay much attention to him. A deluxe merit body is nothing. Just pay attention to it. But a deluxe merit supreme saint has to be taken seriously. The conflict is still very serious. No wonder Elder Yuan won't let it go if you interfere halfway. Ethereal Battle Emperor shook his head. I didn't interfere. Yuan Jixian didn't follow the rules. Night Sorrow had just arrived at Ethereal Imperial City not long ago, and this subordinate had already met him. Apart from his own value, his subordinate admired him very much, so he befriended him and opened a shop with him to do business. How could Yuan Ji not know? It's not appropriate to go to his lordship and ask for an imperial edict instead. Song Ning's heart was filled with anger when he said this. So that's how it is. You're not bad. You have foresight. The deluxe merit grand sage cultivates his heart and morals. His soul and Taoist heart are flawless. Using force won't work. Elder Yuan's arrangement is indeed inappropriate. Tell me about the current situation. Ethereal Battle Emperor nodded to Song Ning. Wufeng, his lordship should know that Wufeng and Night Sorrow are brothers. Wufeng and I are friends. When Night Sorrow was in danger, I let him join the blood battle arena as a guest elder. However, Yuan Ji still sent a sovereign-level assassin to assassinate him. More importantly, he invited a heavenly lord to challenge Night Sorrow. This heavenly lord has a very strong murderous aura. I tried to check, but I couldn't find out how strong it is. I was worried that Night Sorrow would be in danger. I wanted to stop it, but I didn't think it was appropriate, Song Ning said. Well, you don't think Night Sorrow is capable? Ethereal Battle Emperor looked at Song Ning and asked. He's very strong. He killed Yang Tianlia's son. When Yang Tianlia's son and Gong Yufan's daughter each brought 2 heavenly lords to attack him, he killed them instead. Out of the 6 heavenly lords, only Gong Yufan's daughter and guards escaped. The sovereign-level assassin sent by Yuan Ji didn't have the upper hand in the battle. This time, I think his opponent must have a very strong hidden hand. Besides, he has fought more than 10 battles in the blood battle arena. His opponent knows him, but he knows nothing about his opponent, Song Ning said. When will the battle begin? I'll go take a look. I've seen the body of merit before. The Merit Saint and Merit Supreme Sage are only recorded in the ancient books. I'll go take a look, Ethereal Battle Emperor said. This evening, his lordship. Have some tea first. Later, we'll take the teleportation formation and go directly to the top of the blood battle arena to watch, Song Ning said. It's rare for the Merit Supreme Sage to appear in the Ethereal Dynasty. Besides, I'd like to see the person you admire, Ethereal Battle Emperor said with a faint smile. For countless years, nothing could attract her attention and interest. Even when the elders of the City Lord's mansion were fighting fiercely, she couldn't be bothered. Now, she suddenly had the idea of making a move. When evening came, Night Sorrow led Datura and the others out of the mansion. They took a beast carriage and went to the blood battle arena. Datura and the others went to a private room. Night Sorrow went to the participant seat and sat down. Not far from him was an old man in black. He couldn't feel the flow of energy from the old man, but there was a murderous aura rushing in all directions. Night Sorrow knew that this was his opponent. Song Ning accompanied Ethereal Battle Emperor and took the teleportation formation to the top of the blood battle arena. "Find yourself a chair," Ethereal Battle Emperor said, and sat in the seat where Song Ning used to supervise the blood battle arena. Little Star went to get another chair for Song Ning. Ethereal Battle Emperor released his soul spirit power through the crystal window made with a secret technique and probed Night Sorrow and the old man in black. Zhulong. Night Sorrow, who was sitting upright, suddenly felt something strange. Someone was probing. After Night Sorrow knew what was going on, he circulated the energy in his body and activated his leakless true body. At the same time, he looked at the highest pavilion. He felt someone was probing him, and the soul spirit power came from the top of the pavilion. The Ethereal Battle Emperor stood up and looked down. His eyes glinted. "My lord, what's going on?" Song Ning also noticed Night Sorrow's gaze. His potential is boundless. The sovereign attribute is void. His body contains the energy of destruction, time, space, and death. His divine sea has the light of merit, which prevents probing. The blood in his body is surging like the tide. He has the power of a heaven monarch, Ethereal Battle Emperor said. "My lord, what do you mean by surging like the tide and having the power of a heaven monarch?" Song Ning asked in confusion. "It means that he has cultivated his body. The strength of his body is infinitely close to that of a heaven monarch. He can fight a heaven monarch without using his vital energy." Ethereal Battle Emperor sat down again. "I still don't know. When he fought, he only used the energy of death and time. He didn't use anything else. How can he have two sovereign attributes?" Song Ning was shocked. Every generation has its own talents. Since he was able to become a virtuous great sage, he naturally has something that ordinary people can't compare to. Having two supreme attributes is indeed very shocking. They are pure supreme attributes, not side branches, Ethereal Battle Emperor emphasized. "My lord, we have to protect this person. If something goes wrong, it won't be worth it." Song Ning decided to stop the upcoming battle. Chapter 16:10. "I can't tell what his opponent is like," said Song Ning. "He's a branch of the dragon race. He's a half-step martial emperor. His control over his energy is very good. There's no leakage of energy at all. Furthermore, there's a half-step martial emperor puppet hidden inside his body." As the overlord of this region, Ethereal Battle Emperor naturally came to a conclusion after a brief inspection. These shameless bastards are really ruthless. Song Ning was a little angry. A half-step Emperor Realm Cultivator was already attacking, and he even used a puppet. It was a little despicable. "Don't worry. I still think Night Sorrow has a high chance of winning. External forces are still external forces. One's own strength is the true strength." Ethereal Battle Emperor shook his head. "My lord, I think there will be a big bet today. You can't leave me out. I'm going to fight with Yuan-Ji today. My lord, please stay here and watch. I'll handle it." Song Ning cupped his hands at Ethereal Battle Emperor and left the highest pavilion. Void World's lord has appeared. Everyone who should come is here. In the blink of an eye, an era has passed. Things have changed. Ethereal Battle Emperor had a strange expression on his face. Night Sorrow sat there without moving. He didn't look at Zhulong either. Although it was before the battle, he was still very quiet. Fu Wu went up the stage and introduced the two parties. This time, the introduction was very simple. He only introduced the names of the two parties. The odds were 2-1. After all, Night Sorrow had an undefeated record. 1-1 was not suitable. After that, it was time to place bets. Many people placed their bets. Night Sorrow was carrying half of the bets. "Kid, didn't you want to bet with me? You want to play big? How much do you want to bet today?" Yuan-Ji stood up. He knew Zhulong's situation very well, so he was very confident. "I don't have much. How much do you want to bet? Let's see if I can afford it." Knight Sorrow turned his head and glanced at UNG. 5 million. You dare to accept 50,000 Saint Spirit Stones? UNG took out a storage ring. You scared me to death. I thought you were going to take out tens of millions. I really can't afford it. 5 million is a big bet? You can't do it. Knight Sorrow looked at UNG and smiled. Trash like you dare to boast so shamelessly. How much do you want to bet? UNG looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. You/Yong 5 Jiosher. Fei. Read B novels. Percent 10 million. Don't talk to me about playing big if I'm short of 10 million. I've just arrived at ethereal Imperial City, and in your eyes I'm trash and nobody, but I have courage, I have heroism, I have the courage to face everything. The fact that I'm standing here today and daring to accept all challenges is proof of that. Actually, I want to tell you that you are scum in my eyes, Yi Shang said as he stood up. All right. Edgeless clapped his hands. This time, Fatty Shin had really become a damned fatty who was not afraid of death. He waved his arms vigorously and cheered. Calm. F***CK. You can't beat him, so you're trying to scare me? Knight Sorrow, can you let me stay in your mansion for a few days? Fatty Shin looked at UNG with disdain and shouted at Knight Sorrow. Damn Fatty, if you want to stay, I'll always have a room for you. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Old fart, if you can't kill me, I'll curse you every day. Fatty Shin cursed again and sat down. He wasn't afraid. This was the blood battle arena. UNG couldn't casually kill him. After leaving the blood battle arena, he would follow Knight Sorrow. If Knight Sorrow was unlucky, he would accept it. If Knight Sorrow wasn't unlucky, he wouldn't fall. 10 million, is it? Take it out and I'll bet 10 million with you. UNG looked at Knight Sorrow and said. This time he was confident. Torch Dragon was strong and he had a trump card. Knight Sorrow, do you have enough? If not, I'll make it up for you. Songming looked at Knight Sorrow. Without waiting for Knight Sorrow to speak, Datira walked out of the private room and handed a storage ring to Songning. Hehe. Aluo, you can't be considered a good housekeeper, but your courage is hard to match. Songning said with a smile. Songning stood on the opposite side and didn't give UNG any face. UNG's face turned ugly. He then organized the storage ring and put all the spirit stones in one storage ring and threw it to Songning. After checking the storage ring, Songning looked at UNG and said, Can you be any more shameless? You don't even have 9 million here, and you want to bet 10 million with him? I'm in a hurry. Besides, who would be stupid enough to bring 10 million spirit stones out? UNG was embarrassed by Songning's words. He really didn't have 10 million Saint Spirit Stones. Then go back and get it. No one won't give you time. Songning said. All right, Songning, remember what happened today. UNG was furious, but he calmed down. Wait, if you want to play big today, I, Songning, will accompany you. You sent someone to challenge the Blood Battle Stage's guest warrior, which means you have the confidence to slap the Blood Battle Stage's face. Then let's make a bet and see whose eyes are better. I'm not as rich as Knight Sorrow, but I can still bet a few million. Songning decided to make a big bet like Knight Sorrow. If he lost, then he lost. If he won, then he would hurt UNG greatly. Haha. Very good, then I don't need to go back and get it. Drifting Cloud Villa. How about I bet the villa? How many millions are you willing to bet? UNG didn't leave, because even if he went back to his courtyard, he couldn't take out so many Saint Spirit Stones. After all, the Yuan family needed to run, and he couldn't just hoard a few million. I'll give you 4 million. How about that? Songning said. 4 million. Songning, are you crazy? That's a mansion given by the Battle Emperor. No one is allowed to trespass, including the city leader mansion's law guards and law guards. You're only offering 4 million? You're disrespecting the Battle Emperor. UNG roared at Songning. You're talking about respect with me? The elders and the 7 mansion masters have all been given mansions by the Battle Emperor for us to have a stable backyard. You're even willing to bet on this, and you still have the face to say that you're disrespecting the Battle Emperor? Songning laughed, but the corners of his mouth were full of disdain. 4 million it is. The point is you can't take it away. Yuan sneered. All right then. Hand over the deed. If you win, you'll take 13 million Saint Spirit stones from me. If you lose, you know what I'll do. Song Ning stretched out his hand towards Yuan. Empty words were useless when it came to asking for the deed. After Yuan handed over the title deed, Fu Wu walked up and opened the door of the cage. Kid, you have the aura of dragons on you. If you're not one of the dragons, then you must have hurt one of the dragons. Today you must die. Zhu Long, who had entered the cage, had a murderous look in his eyes. Don't waste your breath. Solve the problem with your power. Night Sorrow's body shook, and the sky-splitting spear flew out. Night Sorrow reached out and grabbed it. Zhu Long waved his arm, and a strange-shaped battle blade appeared in his hand. It was 3 meters long, and filled with a sharp evil qi. Chapter 16:11. After Fu Wu retreated, there was no sound in the arena, because this battle was destined to be recorded in the annals of history. Perhaps there were people stronger than Yi Shang and Zhu Long on the blood battle platform, but they were definitely not as strong as Yi Shang and Zhu Long. Other than the normal bets, there were also millions of bets. This situation had never happened before. Fu Wu flicked his arm, and the soul-seeking gong rang. The moment the soul-seeking gong rang, Night Sorrow and Zhu Long both moved. Night Sorrow could feel Zhu Long's strength, and Zhu Long naturally knew that Night Sorrow wasn't simple. Neither of them could afford to lose. In fact, no one could afford to lose in the blood battle arena. When the two of them charged, they both waved their weapons and attacked each other. With a loud explosion, the two separated. They were evenly matched, but Night Sorrow only used his physical strength and Jin Qi. He didn't circulate the myriad Tao Tome's energy. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Since there wasn't a clear winner, the two of them charged at each other again. Explosions rang out continuously. Zhu Long was a branch of dragons, so his body was tyrannical. He wasn't at a disadvantage when fighting with Night Sorrow. Relying on physical strength alone wasn't enough, so Night Sorrow circulated the myriad Tao Tome's energy and poured it into his arms, adding to his weapons. When Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear and Zhu Long's Battle Blade clashed again, the result was different. Night Sorrow was still in the same place, but Zhu Long was directly sent flying by Night Sorrow's spear. This was the effect of circulating the myriad Tao Tome's energy. After being sent flying by Night Sorrow's spear, Zhu Long's expression changed drastically. Then, a black protective shield appeared on his body. The shield was black, and there was lightning flowing on it. Destruction Thunder. Zhu Long's energy attribute was completely revealed. It was the Destruction Thunder attribute, which was a branch of the Destruction energy. After the shield was activated, Zhu Long's body trembled again. The force of heaven and earth pressed down on Night Sorrow. He used the advantage of his realm, and had the force of heaven and earth. Hiss. The entire place was filled with gasps of cold air. The Torch Dragon's Destructive Thunder attribute was already very shocking, as this attribute was extremely rare, and had a strong attack power. Now he had also displayed the advantage of his cultivation realm. It was very difficult for a Heaven Monarch to fight against a half-Tharch, as there was a fundamental difference. One had comprehended the general trend of heaven and earth, while the other didn't. Night Sorrow swung his space-splitting spear diagonally and released his battle intent. At this moment, his battle intent seemed to have materialized and carried a purple halo. The Voids' will of heaven's will. The ethereal battle empress's will to the battle will. Others might not be able to see anything, but she could, because she was the ethereal battle emperor. Before the battle, she had already sensed the strength of Yi Shang and Zhu Long. The reason why she favored Yi Shang was because of the terrifying energy contained in his body. In addition, Yi Shang had sensed her detection, but Zhu Long had not. After releasing his fighting spirit, Night Sorrow managed to suppress Torch Dragon's heaven and earth momentum to a certain extent. While Night Sorrow blocked Zhu Long's suppression, Zhu Long's body flashed and he attacked Night Sorrow with his saber. Berserk. Torch Dragon's attacks were extremely violent. Although the release of the force of heaven and earth did not suppress Night Sorrow, It helped him increase his combat strength by at least 30%. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow could no longer rely on his strength to send Torch Dragon flying. Torch Dragon's body was already strong to begin with, and with the help of the world's momentum, Night Sorrow's physical advantage was nullified. However, it was still impossible for him to defeat Night Sorrow. It was only a matter of time. At this time, the strength of the two's attacks had reached a level that shocked everyone. When the two weapons collided, spatial ripples rippled out in all directions. Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry as long as they could hold their ground. He wanted to see what kind of territory they had. Torch Dragon attacked wildly, but Night Sorrow stood in the middle of the cage as steady as a mountain. He did not take a single step back. This was the foundation. With a good foundation, one could withstand such attacks. This level of attack is already at the Emperor level. Wu Feng turned to look at Song Ning and said, "This is only the current level. Both of them still have trump cards that they have not used. Let's see who can't withstand the current situation and use their ultimate move first," Song Ning said. Song Ning did not check on Night Sorrow's situation. This was out of respect between friends. After the battle, Emperor checked. She naturally understood that Night Sorrow had a trump card. He was just using the power of time. Torch Dragon maintained his high-intensity attacks, intending to break Night Sorrow's defense and find a flaw. After 15 minutes, Night Sorrow was still the same. He stood in the middle of the cage and did not retreat. He only stepped forward, retreated, and swung his spear to block Torch Dragon's attacks. Yuan Ji's face was cold. He did not expect that Torch Dragon, who was at the half-step martial Emperor realm and had a strong body, would not be able to take down Night Sorrow even after using the Tao of Thunder and Destruction. At this moment, almost half of the spectators stood up to watch the battle. Not to mention that they had placed their bets. Such a battle was rare to see. Torch Dragon was a little anxious that he could not take down Night Sorrow. He was the challenger, and Yuan Ji had promised him a reward of 1,000,000 Saint Spirit Stones if he won. There was no way he could win if the battle continued. So what if your defense is strong? Let's see how you can block it. Torch Dragon roared as he took a few steps back. Then a cracking sound came from his body. Along with the sound, pieces of black metal appeared and wrapped around Torch Dragon. In the blink of an eye, Torch Dragon became a black monster, emitting a more violent aura than before. It was a puppet, a high-level puppet. Night Sorrow had fought with the Celestial Sect before, so he naturally knew what it was. It was a puppet that surpassed the Heavenly Monarch realm. With the addition of the puppet, Night Sorrow was repelled when their weapons clashed again. He was at a disadvantage in terms of energy and strength. After all, it was not 1+1. It was a double increase in combat strength. "If I can't block it, I won't block it," Night Sorrow replied. He took a step forward and arrived in front of Torch Dragon. Then he used a temporal oscillation wave and stabbed at Torch Dragon's side. Torch Dragon's body flashed and he swung his saber at Night Sorrow's head. Night Sorrow took another step forward and dodged Torch Dragon's attack. Then he used the afterimage body. Several figures appeared and pounced at Torch Dragon. Night Sorrow's clone was hidden among them. He used the spatial whirling dragon kill and stabbed at Torch Dragon's back. Night Sorrow's afterimage body was controlled by his soul spirit power. It could be passed off as real, making it impossible to judge. Torch Dragon's saber swung and swept across, breaking Night Sorrow's afterimage body. At this moment, Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear blasted Torch Dragon's back. The situation was different from Night Sorrow's estimation. This spear only sent Torch Dragon's body flying forward, but it didn't pierce through. Its defense was terrifying. This half-step monarch rank puppet was powered by Torch Dragon's own energy. Night Sorrow's spatial whirling dragon kill couldn't break through its defense. Trash, come on. Torch Dragon didn't do much after being hit by Night Sorrow's spear. Chapter 16:12. Since I can't hide it anymore, I won't hide it anymore. Night Sorrow's aura changed. The gray protective shield turned dark purple. What is this? Fatty Shun's face was filled with shock. Everyone watching the battle was the same. They had never seen such attributes before. After the void attribute exploded, Night Sorrow used the afterimage body again. Then he hit his real body in the afterimage body and used the void origin kill. The spear hit again. Zhu Long moved a step. Night Sorrow shook his wrist and didn't let the spear miss. He attacked Zhu Long's left shoulder. With the explosion of the purple halo, the black metal on Zhu Long's left shoulder was annihilated. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. You are invincible just because you have a turtle shell? Night Sorrow took a step forward and moved his spear again. It was the void extreme kill. You deserve to die. Zhu Long was shocked when his puppet was destroyed. At the same time, he was furious because he was injured. Zhu Long swung his battle blade. Night Sorrow didn't dodge this time because the void extreme kill's annihilation ability was strong. Their weapons clashed once again. This time, there was no sound of energy colliding. Only a purple halo exploded. Then 3 feet of Torch Dragon's saber fell. The middle part was annihilated, and the other half fell to the ground. After breaking Zhu Long's weapon, Night Sorrow shook his right hand and used the Death Destruction Slash. The black halo fell on Zhu Long's head. Then he stabbed his spear forward again. The black halo fell on Zhu Long's head. However, the black puppet on Zhu Long's head emitted a green light and blocked the black halo. Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear stabbed Zhu Long's chest. However, it didn't pierce through and only pushed Zhu Long back. When Zhu Long retreated, Night Sorrow's feet shook and he jumped into the air. He shook his space-splitting spear and used the Emperor Reincarnation Slash. So strong. Song Ning muttered. She knew that Torch Dragon had no more trump cards left. His biggest trump card was the puppet. Now that he had used the puppet and was being suppressed by Night Sorrow, it was as good as dead. The halo of the Great Emperor Samsara Slash landed on the Torch Dragon's head, but it was still blocked by the halo emitted by the Torch Dragon's head. However, while the Torch Dragon's soul was defending, the Torch Dragon's dodging speed slowed down. Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear had transformed into the Void Extreme Kill and pierced his chest, causing a purple halo to erupt. The space-splitting spear pierced through the black puppet's defense and into its chest. Without waiting for Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear to erupt with energy, the Torch Dragon battle saber slashed and borrowed the force to retreat, avoiding Night Sorrow's killing move. However, dodging this sure kill attack was not enough. Night Sorrow continued to attack. As the battle progressed, more and more bloody holes appeared on Torch Dragon's body. They were all pierced by Night Sorrow's Void Extreme Kill and Void Origin Kill because he could not break through his defense. Everyone understood that if Torch Dragon did not have any other trump cards, he would be killed. Now Night Sorrow had the absolute advantage. At this moment, Torch Dragon was only defending. At the same time, he was thinking of ways to solve the current crisis. He was struggling to make a decision. You want to kill me? Then you must die. When Night Sorrow's spear pierced his chest again, Torch Dragon roared. Then his body suddenly exploded. The puppet and the energy exploded, sending Yishang flying. The self-destruction of a half-step martial monarch realm cultivator was too powerful. Yishang spat out a mouthful of blood as he was sent flying. This was not something he could withstand. The body of a half-step imperial realm cultivator contained boundless energy. In addition, he had controlled the puppet to explode. Hence, he was injured. Go to hell. At this moment, another Torch Dragon appeared in the chaotic energy. He held the same battle saber and charged towards Night Sorrow. The battle saber was the same. This battle saber was complete. Main body. It was Torch Dragon's main body. Torch Dragon hesitated just now because he was considering if he should fight with his main body. If he did not fight, his clone would be killed. His main body was in the spatial treasure. The spatial treasure was his spoils of war, and would be taken out of the cage by Night Sorrow. If he appeared again after leaving the cage, he could still survive. If his main body fought, there would be 2 results. He would either kill Night Sorrow, or his main body would be killed. After thinking for a while, Torch Dragon decided to take a risk. He would self-explode his clone and severely injure Night Sorrow. Then his main body would appear and kill Night Sorrow. He succeeded. Everyone's expression changed drastically. Datura's face turned pale and bloodless. Torch Dragon was too sinister. Who would have expected him to fight with his main body and clone? At this moment, Night Sorrow was severely injured. Seeing Torch Dragon charging towards him, Night Sorrow's body trembled and landed on the ground. Then his body glowed as he activated the mysterious yellow armor. He was not in a good condition now. He had to block Torch Dragon's attack first. Otherwise, he would be in big trouble. A loud explosion sounded. Night Sorrow's body was sent flying again and landed on the edge of the cage. However, Night Sorrow circulated his energy and regained the ability to fight. He watched as Torch Dragon charged towards him once again. Night Sorrow took a step forward and executed the Soul Extinguishing Slash. The crescent blade of the Soul Extinguishing Slash flew towards the divine sea of Torch Dragon's true body. Then a spatial crack appeared, preventing Torch Dragon from approaching and giving him a chance to catch his breath. Song Ning let out a breath. It was too dangerous just now. However, Night Sorrow had stabilized himself. The situation was not good. Even if he was injured, he would not be defeated immediately. Night Sorrow circulated the Myriad Daros Tome and activated the virtuous immortal golden body to recover the blood in his body. Torch Dragon was chasing after him with all his strength because he knew that if he let Night Sorrow recover from the negative effect of his clone's self-destruction, he would be in trouble. Chapter 5. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Torch Dragon's speed was fast, but Night Sorrow's footwork was extremely nimble. Every step he took covered a distance of more than 100 feet. In addition, his soul attack also interfered with Torch Dragon, causing all of Torch Dragon's blade lights to miss. This situation only lasted for a moment. Night Sorrow's aura calmed down a little. He turned around and used the Void Extreme Kill. Night Sorrow's sudden counterattack caught Torch Dragon off guard. He could only swing his battle blade to slash at it. When he swung his blade, he remembered Night Sorrow's attack power and how his clone's battle blade was damaged. However, it was too late. A purple halo rippled. Just like the previous time, the Void Splitter Spear broke Torch Dragon's battle blade and stabbed into his chest. This time, Torch Dragon didn't have a puppet to defend him. The energy of the Void Splitter Spear directly tore open his chest, creating a hole. Just as Torch Dragon was retreating in a hurry, Night Sorrow pushed his right hand and the Void Splitter Spear entered Torch Dragon's body. Then he rushed forward and reached out his right hand to grab the Void Splitter Spear again. Following that, he slashed downwards. The one-on-one fight was over. The Void Splitter Spear slashed downwards and shattered Torch Dragon's Dantian. The scene froze. "Let me go." Torch Dragon's eyes were filled with fear. Now that his cultivation had been destroyed, if Night Sorrow attacked again, his soul would be destroyed. "You shouldn't have begged. You wanted to kill me at all costs. Therefore you have to die. You should die with some dignity." Night Sorrow wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with his left hand. The self-destruction of Torch Dragon's clone had caused him to suffer quite a bit. "You will definitely die. Someone will kill you." Seeing that there was no hope in begging, Torch Dragon roared angrily. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.